All right, everybody, grace and peace. Good morning to you all. We got a fun one planned for you all. So you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, you know what we're going to be talking about today. Tiffany Henyard is supposed to come before the Georgia Election Selection Committee. I've got the proper title, and explain why she was living in Dalton, Illinois, being paid in Dalton, Illinois, but alleges that she was also living in Fulton County, Georgia at the same time. It's going to be a mess. And she's supposed to come. So she can't just be like a phone it in or not show up type of scenario. So that's that. And if you're not fully docked in, fully tapped in, Tiffany Henyard used to be the mayor in Dalton, Illinois. She had a lot of shenanigans, a lot of problems there. She was not elected to be mayor there, and she immediately came to Georgia. And I think she had already been kind of working it out because there had already been rumors. She had been spotted down here in Georgia last summer, last year, please forgive me. And so, yeah, so when she was not voted in as mayor, she came here to Georgia and alleged that she was living here. And of course, now that there is a Fulton County 5th District Commission seat open, because two people want to run for the commission chair. And when you run for the commission chair, you cannot hold your position as a commissioner. Who comes sweeping in? Tiffany Henyard, saying that she'd been in Georgia. They say that she qualifies to run, and I don't fully understand how they qualify, because I'm like, she clearly is not a Georgian. But anyway, so that's what we're going to watch. That's going to pop up. I hope they said it's going to start at 11, or where I'm at. As you can see, I'm in a nondescript location. It's supposed to start at 8 o'clock here on the West Coast, which is 11 o'clock in Georgia, I think. I hope I have it right, man. I hate time zones. I'm terrible with time zones. Okay, so it's supposed to be at noon. Wait, am I right, noon? No, 11 o'clock, yes. It's supposed to be 11 o'clock. Gosh. All right, so I got that tapped in. Y'all, thank y'all so much for tapping in with me. Y'all know your boy hates doing this. I hate doing this. That's why I don't do man on the street podcasts, because I like having a little bit of control. And Editor Jason, I got a bad feeling about this one. Editor Jason's gonna mess it up. I got a bad feeling about this one tonight. Anyway, is it Utah time? It might be Utah time. You might be right. It might be Utah time. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. Okay, so I need to do quick little quality control. How do I sound? How do I sound? I ran a couple tests last night, and it seemed like it sounded okay. I'm using the microphone on the little old school plug-in headphones. I don't have my high quality microphone. I have a microphone. I just didn't use it last night. I didn't practice it. So give me a green hearts if it sounds okay. Then I'm also going to run a quick test on the audio of the stream. So I'm gonna just pull in something and just play it for a hot second just to see.
I
Make
don't
sure-
think the schools would agree, but
Make sure
No,
it
I'm
sounds
just
all
talking
right.
about Fulton County government perspective. And then
You sound fine. Okay, thank you so much. All right, how does
And
this
then
sound?
382 does not eliminate homestead property taxes either. It phases in like an increased homestead exemption amount
yes,
it, I
over
love it, I love
5
it.
years.
over 5 years. And the first is, what is this 10% representative of?
Okay, so there'll be a little bit of delay because I don't have multiple monitors. So thank y'all so much. Okay, sounds good. Perfect. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. I was testing it last night. It sounded good to me. I said it might sound good to me because I just want it to sound good. So I gotta make sure y'all stay tapped in. Let me make sure I'm ready for when this happens. It's supposed to start at 11 o'clock. It's about 6 minutes till, give or take. So we will see. And if it does, I'm also trying to open up another window, make sure just in case anywhere else it pops up, just in case it's not on their main site like it should be. It should be on the main site though. Okay, just checking. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere else. I don't see agenda anywhere else. So it looks like it's going to be on their main YouTube channel. So hopefully that'll be it. I'm going to also just check. Thank y'all so much for tapping in. I do have a couple. They've given me some new features on StreamYard I want to try out as well. So if we get a chance, I could do polls now where everybody can participate. Sometimes we do polls In YouTube, other people can't. Not everybody can participate, but this one apparently now everybody can participate, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Yeah, this is the only place they say you can watch it. You can watch it only here on their YouTube channel. Okay, cool. What's going on to you? Thank y'all, everybody who tapped in. I just can't believe the gall. That's the part that amazes me. Like, and some people are saying, "Hey, well, Fulton County still elected Fonnie Willis, so therefore they would elect Tiffany Henyard." Look, I, I understand. I understand the sentiment. That's even Fulton County isn't that bad. We're not that bad hard up. But then also keep in mind this also. Fulton County is a Democrat county. It's a stronghold. That's probably the reason why Georgia votes the way it does is because of Fulton County. And so why would they vote in a quote unquote Republican who's grimy and slimy when they had Democrats that they could vote in? Like, why would they do that? There's no reason to believe that. And if you want to believe that, well, they'll cheat to get her in. Why? Why cheat to get Tiffany Henyard in? She got all this mess, all this drama, all this specter, all this baggage with her name. Why would they bring her in when they got somebody? They have commissioners who are less grimy, slimy, and full of shenanigans. Like, there's no reason to believe that. So I don't think, again, as I said before in my last video about this, there's no reason for her to run. And I'm hoping that they'll do the right thing and just say no, goodbye, take care. And because by authenticating this foolishness and giving her a pass, I know that they realize that they're going to you're giving hearty approval to this craziness. And I don't think that that's a good look at all by miles. Let me see real quick. I'm just looking on their Facebook page as well. Their Facebook page, and it does not show anything new on here. Okay. So it's going to be on this page here. Whenever it pops up, we'll be here. But I hope that makes sense. There we go. There's a video evidence of all cocos and cocoa puffs, all the yeah, like if they showed Tiffany Henyard's shenanigans, look, it would be a quick shutdown. What are we talking about, Carol? So we're just talking about Tiffany Henyard, who's trying to run as a Republican county commissioner here in Georgia. Now you remember that name because Tiffany Henyard was the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, just almost a year ago. So the problem is she was the mayor of Dalton, being paid in Dalton, alleging that she lived here in Georgia at the same time. And she somehow or another, she snuck in and got qualified to run as a Republican even here in Georgia. And the county commissioners are like, Board of Elections is like, what are you doing? So they want her to come in to talk about that. So I want to, hopefully, we'll have her come in today. And apparently, it's supposed to be she's supposed to be here. She can't just like phone it in or send somebody an emissary. So she's supposed to be there. And I don't see anything on their page as of yet. And it is 11 o'clock. We're Georgian, so we try to be on time. We try our best. Let's see. Let me see. They have another channel, Fulton County Government Television. Oh, it's a different page. It's got some wild music though. Okay, everybody, real quick, green hearts in the chat when you can hear this. Hmm. All right, green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Okay, we got the grenades in the building. We got the grenades in the building. Okay. Hey, by the way, y'all, I have now the ability to make polls. So I'm putting a poll up. I don't know how it looks. So y'all tell me what y'all think about it.
The Fulton County Board of
Oh,
Registration
it
and
is.
Elections regular meeting is being held on April 9th, 2026 at 11 o'clock a.m. The rules for the meeting are all cell phones are to be turned off prior to the meeting. If you are speaking, you should have given Ms. Bodison and her team a comment card prior to the meeting. All speakers will be granted up to 2 minutes and a total of 60 minutes per meeting. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't have cards. I don't have the cards yet for the public comment section, so I'm sure they'll bring them. So while I'm waiting for the cards to be brought to me for public comment. Oh, here they are. Okay, usually they're on my desk. Okay, so for the public comment section, I'll name you 3 people, and please come up and stand one behind the other so I don't have to wait then to call the next person. Kevin Muldowney, Michael Gordon, L.A. Pink.
Y'all know LA Pink. Y'all know her. If you've been following the YSL trial, you know LA Pink. Make this a bigger screen for y'all.
Good morning. I didn't see board member Selby First Amendment crushing public policy proposal on the current agenda. Perhaps he had second thoughts, perhaps the board's attorney advised against it, or maybe you just have other fish to fry. In any case, thank you for leaving it off. Public comments are one of the last avenue to voice our opinion and influence public policy. To squelch it would be a mistake. There is some confusion as to the status of the Alpharetta Library on Election Day. I had first heard it was removed as a voting location and replaced by a mosque. I now understand this is not the case. I would suggest more thorough communication to voters on this matter. People are yelling and screaming. Their heads are on fire. So, however, the proposal to accept absentee ballots on all Election Day polling places at all Election Day polling places and county offices seems to be a problem, exposing all sorts of potential chain of custody issues.
Mhm.
We need to at least have voters show their ID and have that ID recorded when using this controversial voting method. One drop box per 100,000 registered voters, plus the ability to actually mail a mail-in ballot, seems to be more than adequate opportunity to cast an absentee vote. I believe electors now have approximately 216 voting hours to cast their vote,
Told y'all.
including at least one weekend. It's simply amazing to think not long ago, we managed it all in a single 12-hour day. Thank you.
I like this dude. That's my dude right there.
Michael Gordon, Fulton County. We still got a lot of problems with our elections, you know, and I guess the first thing is I hope you guys don't pursue this avenue of this editing what we can and can't say and kicking us out if we say the wrong things or we say it the wrong way or we move too much, because that's not right. You really shouldn't be doing that. We should be able to express ourselves, and it's not your job to determine what is misinformation and what is fact. That's up to the people to determine. That's one thing. I'm really unfortunate that in our session this year, we did not get any meaningful legislation to improve our election situation. We still have horrendous voter rolls, and that's not misinformation. There's just all sorts of records there that are invalid, that are still on the rolls. We cannot have secure elections when we don't even know if people are voting under false pretenses. So we got problems. We still got the QR codes. That's illegal. I mean, we can't even tell how we voted, how it's being counted. The process isn't transparent. You say your goal is to have transparency, meticulous. It's just not true. So maybe you guys can work on that, get better at that, and confront this problem and talk to the commissioners, talk to the legislators, tell them what the problems are, instead of just sitting here and rubber stamping a process that's very insecure. So I hope you guys have something good comes into your heart where you actually see the light and you start doing the right thing, because we the
Something good
people
comes in your
notice
heart.
we're not being fooled. Our elections still suck. So sorry. Thank you. Bye.
I like him. Hey, I like everybody I've heard so far, man. Here's LA Pink.
So in 2021,
Told y'all.
the sheriff said that it was a myth that if you want to commit a crime, come to Fulton County. This was a post that he posted
Yeah, I remember
back in
that.
2021. And as Fulton County turns, and as we open up the Fulton Sting files, guess what we find off in there?
Mhm.
All of you. Tiffany, how is that so that she is able to come to Fulton County
Come on, say this part.
that is becoming a hub for corruption, deception,
Type pink in the chat.
manipulation, and be able to just sign in? Now, keep in mind, I feel like she was sent. I feel like it was something done by the Democratic Party. Yes, I do. That's just allegedly by me. That's my opinion. Because how is it that she's a sheriff in a whole nother state, come here able? This is just showing the disconnect
Come
of the
on.
work and the leaders that we have here in Fulton County. Because she's registered still as a mayor in a whole nother state and able to come here, the hub of corruption in Fulton County, and register. And y'all are sitting up here confused.
Type pink
But
in the
then
chat.
Jason, they can't even get a seat
What about
at the
me?
table to do right by the
That's another
people
point. Oh, I got to
because
bring
of
it
the
up.
corruption of the Democratic Party. Now, this is for our Black people, because Harriet Tubman want to know, Malcolm X want to know, when is integrity going to step up to the plate? Because see, here in Georgia, Black people wasn't even supposed to be sitting in front of nobody.
That's your time,
Get it
ma'am.
together.
Thank you.
Yo, remind me to
Next
tell y'all
speaker,
about the county
And-
commission.
we will not have clapping and keep the decorum of the meeting.
I told y'all LA Pink is gonna bring it. I
Ms.
told y'all.
Gaudio, Maria Gaudio.
Oh, okay.
Her name is LA
Lashley,
Pink.
Nurse Lashley is next after Maria Gaudio, and then Al
Sorry,
Edwards.
typed it wrong. Her name is LA Pink. She's been
Good
all
morning.
over Fonnie, all over all
So
of them.
I'm very disappointed that the QR code abolishment goes into law in just a couple months. And I don't see it on the agenda as to what your plan is. It would make sense that for a primary election, you would have a dry run of what you're going to do. But it looks like you're going to use the machines again, and your employees, everyone working at the polls most of those folks can't remember 20 years ago what we did with paper ballots, but we're going to have to go back to paper ballots because you have no alternative plan unless you want to break the law again. You know what's to stop you? We have 2 attorneys on the board who don't know the First Amendment. That's okay too, because we have 2 attorneys on the Board of Commissioners who don't understand standing. How did you get bar cards and not know the First Amendment? Crazy. But you don't.
Wow.
We have chain of custody issues. We have fraudulent voting from our records It's not just a few here, a few there. It's tens and maybe even hundreds of thousands. And if you didn't want the ballots, why would Shay Alexander want to destroy them? Why would Nadine Williams say, I don't care about the ballots, you can make paper airplanes as far as I'm concerned? But yet you want them back because you know that you're guilty. You know there's something there and you don't want the DOJ or the FBI to find it. Fulton County is the hub of fraud. And now you're probably going to let Tiffany Henyard run for county commissioner, aren't you? That's what you're going to do, aren't you? She hasn't been here a year like the law
Time is up.
says
Yeah.
she should be.
Hey, I take back everything I said bad about Fulton County, y'all. I take it back. Fulton County is, these people ain't playing with them today.
Good evening. How are you? My name is Nurse Lashley. I'm actually a resident of Henry County, but I want to first start off by saying thank you for addressing the issue that I brought to your attention about Tiffany Henyard and how long she's been in the county and her not really being able, in my opinion, from what I reviewed, to run as commissioner. It is disheartening to hear everything that I hear your residents saying, because I do go to a lot of board meetings and listen, and this sounds very repetitive. So basically, I pray that you guys ensure that you don't let Tiffany Henyard come into this county and do what she did on the south side of Illinois, leaving it more than $200,000 plus in debt in the section of the PD, $3.1 million lawsuit that she caused from her neglect and much more. So with that goes to say, I want to say thank you so much for even this addressing this particular issue today, but it do dishearten me for what I hear. And I would like to add one more thing. I give out food right up the street at the church. And it's really disheartening to see all of these beautiful buildings, law enforcement and everything, and there's not really no services here. I'm spending my money from another county, at least $500 a week to feed 100 people a week, and I don't see any resources for them. So if you know any resources that can help me provide more food for them, for your county, please let me know. But it is really disheartening to see that right outside the door. Have a good day.
Shout out to Nurse Lashley. She can go to the churches in the community, would help her out if she goes there.
Good morning. Well, I have to apologize first to the board and thank you for having me here. I've got to use my cell phone, but it is on silent and not going to disturb us. The question before us today is whether or not to use the Islamic Center rather than the Alpharetta Public Library as a polling place.
Wow.
It, as its core, is a question about liberty and equality and the true meaning of the Constitution. The framers of the Constitution and later the authors of the Bill of Rights enshrined a radical idea for their time that freedom of religion was not only tolerated, it was protected. The principle is not passive, it's active. It calls upon us to ensure that religious institutions are not pushed to the margins of public life, but welcomed as equal participants in the civic fabric. To choose to keep the Islamic Center as the polling place is to affirm that principle. It's to recognize that the Constitution does not establish a hierarchy of acceptable places for community engagement. Rather, it prohibits government by any extension and society from favoring one viewpoint or type of institution over another, a form of discrimination. Some may argue that a public library would be more neutral. I would tend to disagree with that, even though it would satisfy some. This is a part of the participation process that is essential to our way of life as Americans. We're living out that principle, and the government and society must neither establish religion nor inhibit its free exercise. It sends a message, not just locally in Alpharetta, but more broadly, that inclusion is not theoretical, it's practice. This isn't DEI, because this is religious freedom. It's visible and it's real. The Constitution does not ask us to choose the most familiar option. It asks us to choose the most faithful one.
That's your time, sir.
Thank you.
I disagree with him wholeheartedly, but
Autumn Miller, Ralph O'Connor.
They do use poll churches. Yep, they do.
Hello. I'm here to talk about the handling of the ballots during advanced voting. I am concerned very much with having all the 22 additional non-drop box locations having a drop bag. I believe that violates the intent of the
Drop
law
bag?
that
Where
you
was
can
that?
only have one drop box per 100,000 votes or voters. But the other
Yeah,
thing
2
that I
minutes.
find very concerning that I've heard about here at the meetings the last couple of times is the removal of all of the ballots from the scanners every day. I fear that this is going to cause a lot of chain of custody problems.
It does.
I don't know, are you getting all the ballot suitcases that every day from each scanner they're going to be removed? If there's
They don't.
32 polling locations with at least 2 scanners each, that's 64 scanners daily being emptied for 19 days. That's 1,216
Go ahead.
ballot suitcases or transport cases.
Do that math, girl. Do that
And
math.
1,216 opportunities for error to be injected in the handling of these ballots and the storing of the ballots and recording the ballots. What happens if the scanner at that moment doesn't align with the totals on the BMDs and the poll pads? Do they get removed anyway and they'll just figure it out later?
Hmm.
Are those suitcases going to be flagged? I've got so
That's a
many
great question.
questions on this. One also,
Go
will
ahead.
the public be, being informed, sort of like with the reports that the department does online of how many ballots were picked up at the drop box, how many have come in, all of that.
That's your time, ma'am.
Thank you.
That's a good question, though. These people are concerned about voting. I'm very
Good morning.
impressed.
My name's Ralph O'Connor. I've been a Fulton County Election Day poll clerk for 4 years. I have 4 suggestions related to nonpartisan ballot requests. Some voters don't know a nonpartisan ballot only shows judges. They think Georgia's open primary means you can mix parties on your primary ballot, so they may select a nonpartisan ballot, missing the opportunity to vote for U.S. senators, governor, etc. As of yesterday's publicly available absentee voter file, 1,380 Fulton County voters had requested absentee ballots. 55 of them requested nonpartisan ballots. That's almost 4%, enough to decide who gets into a runoff. I suggest that the department work with the county external affairs multimedia election education campaign that you've heard about for the last couple of meetings to inform voters of the downside of selecting a nonpartisan ballot. If they're not already doing this, department staff should contact voters who requested a nonpartisan absentee ballot to give them the opportunity to switch to a partisan ballot of their choice. My third suggestion is that poll workers be instructed to post sample ballots in a conspicuous place near the entrance to the voting area and to remind voters that nonpartisan ballots only have judicial candidates. Where I work, we post a couple dozen required notices, including sample ballots, on the wall to the entrance to our voting area, but the absentee ballots are usually not near the door. When a voter is checked in the poll pad, the clerk can see which ballot they've selected. Poll clerks should be instructed to show a sample nonpartisan ballot to any voter who selected a nonpartisan ballot and remind them it does not contain any partisan races. If the voter chooses to switch to a partisan ballot, poll clerks should be trained on how to do this. This will be much simpler than having to cancel and redo check-in.
That's
when
your
voters
time, sir.
discover they've selected the wrong ballot.
Thank you.
You gotta give them credit, though, because
I
this
have
thing is
to
moving.
revisit something
This thing is moving.
for the board. The emergency polling relocation.
No. We were advised that there's a problem with the YouTube feed. So I just wanted to make an announcement for those who want to watch to go to FGTV on the Fulton County website to be able to watch the board meeting today.
Has everyone heard that? Go to the FGTV website.
Well,
We're
from
there.
the Fulton County website, and you can link to FGTV from the Fulton County website.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Fulton County gets some bad rap, but they're holding us down.
We
huh?
have an emergency
credit.
polling relocation. That's what needed to be amended to the the agenda needed to be amended to discuss that. And so we have to go back to that. We approved the agenda, but that's what we needed to add in. And I can speak to that. Someone here today spoke to the Istanbul Cultural Center. It is no longer available. They withdrew their
Good.
ability to have it as a polling location. There was a lot of negative feedback, and they felt for the safety of all voters and their own staff that they should not remain a polling location. So under the law, within it's less than 90 days, it should be, we have to vote for an emergency polling location. It's within our discretion if it's unavailable, and they have said it's unavailable. Before we have the attorney speak to it, we can have them speak to it during the discussion of it, but we need to amend the agenda in order to have that discussion. I also want to say that I was a juror. I was not a juror, but I was here for jury duty in Fulton County. And what struck me interesting was the jury duty is for everybody in Fulton County. And there were people from all ethnicities, all cultures, all walks of life who reported for jury duty in Fulton County. And I believe that it was a lot of the things that were being said. It was not a house of worship, the Istanbul Cultural Center, but a lot of things that were being said about whether or not their style of worship, what would happen, who would be concerned there. When we look at what Fulton County decides for a polling location, things that are considered, we are not to consider things like faith, but it was not a faith-based location. So we will discuss changing the emergency balloting location, which probably will make it not as convenient for the citizens, but we're doing what we need to do since it's unavailable. Can I get a motion to amend so we can have the discussion for the emergency ballot location and what the department is trying to do in order to accommodate voters who can no longer go to the center?
Actually, this is the first time. It wasn't like they've been going there for 20 years. This is the first time. I motion.
Motion to amend the agenda.
Second.
All
Third.
those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. So we will add the emergency polling relocation right after review of the absentee ballot return and AV locations. Now moving to the approval of minutes. Any questions or concerns before we get a motion regarding the March 11th, 2026 meeting minutes and the March 16th, 2026 meeting minutes? If not, can we get a motion for amend?
Motion to approve the minutes.
I approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, the minutes are approved. Can we turn now, Director Williams, to the monthly operations report for March?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Our staff has been diligently working to prepare for the May 19th election to include poll worker recruitment, poll worker training, equipment allocations, confirming polling place reservations, updating our voter records, et cetera. We sent the operations report to the board and we'll take any questions at this time.
Questions regarding the operations report? Member Adams.
Yes, I've got a couple of questions. Are we on target with recruiting and training?
Yes, we are on target for advanced voting and election day recruitment and training.
Great, great. With this new policy that we're looking at of picking up all the ballots every day during early voting, all of those materials will be taken right after they're picked up to the department. Is that correct?
Yes, so we will have couriers in teams of 2 that go to each advanced voting location. There is a chain of custody form that has to be filled out by the poll staff to ensure that everything is sealed in its container. And those items will be then transported to the election hub to be locked into a secure cage.
And aren't we going to discuss that further in 10? We're going to talk about it in detail because the SOPs are there too.
Okay. Does anybody else have questions? I do have a couple more.
Okay, go on, Member Adams.
I'm just trying to find my folded
Okay.
down page. I wanted to come back to the discussion we had before about the homeless people that are not registered at the department. Then this came into law January 1st of 2025, and wanted to see what kind of progress we were making on that.
Okay, so as we stated in the last meeting, when the legislation changed, we had updated our website to ensure that that information was on our website, that people had to use our office as their mailing address. Because of all of the rhetoric on social media about homeless voters, we have sent out a letter to all of the homeless shelters and religious institutions that possibly house homeless persons to advise them that to please inform us if they're a shelter, to reconfirm, so we can flag that in Jarvis, because that ability was not able to be done in ENET. But in Jarvis, we can flag it as a homeless shelter. That way, if you see 5 or more people registered at the church, it is valid, because sometimes they do have shelters in their basement. As I said in the last meeting, I know the Catholic Church across the street does house homeless persons, and they do reside there. So that all those letters were sent to the shelters and the churches, so they can call our office, confirm if they're a shelter, confirm if they allow the persons to reside there, as well as telling them to tell the voters, the homeless voters, to update their information on MVP so they can be in compliance with the mailing address being our address. And I actually sent the copy of that letter to this board. Hopefully you received that email.
Okay.
And adding on to that, if any of the board members know of shelters maybe that might have been missed or in your area, if you could send that copy. I personally have tried to also reach out to other shelters and places to make sure that the unhoused understand what their voting rights are. And I think we as a board should reach out, because the department may not know, but we may know something in our own communities, and we can reach out and give them that same letter to make sure that they're dispersing it amongst the homeless population that they serve.
Okay. And I also wanted to see out of that, I mean, we had thousands in registered in homeless shelters. And I know you said that, I think when you were talking about the Catholic Church, you said last meeting, I believe it was 19 people were actually living in basement facilities. But have we shrunk the number of people that are registered at homeless shelters?
Well, let me be clear. I know that there was a lot of social media posts about the number of people, and sometimes, and what they did not say is that a lot of those people are inactive and have not voted. So if those persons did move, they probably did not update their information. But Ms. Glenn can advise if there is a total number. But again, what they do not stay on their social media posts, that these persons are inactive, have not voted. And again, if they choose to do so, if we will flag them if they have not updated their information. So if they do decide to come to the precinct to vote, they will be advised to update their information and have to vote provisionally until they update that information. But I don't have an actual number for you of how many people, but again, we are going through those files.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Glenn, since we raised that, do you have a comment as to how it gets flagged in the system, how it gets reported to you, and what your department is doing?
As far as
The homeless.
the homeless, we, like Director Williams said, we have the ability to put it in Jarvis, which is an acceptable or homeless shelter, so that we know people can be registered there. As far as the number, no, we don't limit the number of people that can be registered there. Our VEO department has gone out and they're working closely with all of those facilities to just make sure what services that they do have there. And as Director Williams said, they're inactive in the system if they haven't voted. So that's the first flag. So they have to show the address. When you're in an active status, you have to verify your address with your ID when you come to cast the ballot, or you will have to cast a provisional ballot. I don't know what's the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any,
Just so people remember, there was a mention of the numbers of ineligible people to vote on our system. But the NVRA, we can't get rid of anyone unless they take him off of Garvis, unless they have missed 2 federal elections without voting. So yes, we have those names on our voter rolls, but it would be against the law to take those names off until the second federal election has passed and they haven't voted.
Anyone else?
I've got one more question.
Member Adams.
Under supplies and logistics, it says that 18 Fulton County time-limited couriers were onboarded. Is that for the picking? I was just wondering, I know that they'd be doing other things, but is that primarily to pick up the ballots from the early voting locations?
No, we always have 18 couriers that are time limited. They have other duties. They do supplies and logistics. They do deliveries of supplies to our offices, etc. But they will be included in those pickups. But no, they're not there specifically for that. That'll just be added to one of their work duties.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have election update. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the update on the election for May 19?
No, actually,
Okay.
we have finished ballot proofing. So the sample ballots are on the website. We have advised voters to make sure that they go to MAP to see their exact website. The one that's the sample ballot on the website is a composite. So if you want to see your actual ballot assigned to you, you would need to go to MVP to see that information. But it is on the website. We will do an update to the polling locations once the board approves on what we have before you today with the emergency move. Outside of that, we are just preparing.
Okay, thank you. Now, can you provide an update on Fulton Facts webpage, or is that External Affairs doing it separately?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
The update on Fulton Facts webpage.
Yes, so thank you to External Affairs for getting this website updated. We have asked that we assist with combating misinformation. A lot of times people post things on social media that is not factual, and we do not provide a response. So this allows voters to find an avenue to where they can get factual information. As of today, that site includes our comment regarding the 2020 election, the FBI seizure, the sheriff race. Those facts are on our website. And we will continue to update that as things arise, just to give people an avenue where to find factual information.
Any questions regarding that?
Yeah, I have a question. You had proposed comments.
Okay, real quick. I'm gonna pause this. They're talking, and I think you all kind of get the skinny of it. I just dropped a link down here in the chat. Here's the provisional ballot for Fulton County. If you go to Republican, go down to Commissioner, District 5 Commissioner, she's on the ballot. I don't even know I don't even know why they're having this discussion. They already got her on the ballot. She's already on the ballot. So I don't know why do you have this discussion? They've already presumed that she's allowed to be on the ballot in the first place. That's crazy work. Anyway, I just wanted you to see that. So that link, if you're interested in checking it out, is there. All right, let's get back to this. Let's go hear what they talk about.
Okay, so we'll move to update on the text by email communication tool that we're using for voters to opt in. And I know you sent us an email to the board saying to test this out, but tell us how it's going.
Yes, so we did do our first run of our email and text platform. So that what it happens is when we encourage voters to go to MVP to update their email address and their mobile phone number. If that information is there, once we send out a message, they will receive that. We did do our first trial run, and what we are circling back to do is to change the appearance of it to have the logo and things of that nature, because we did get feedback from some voters questioning if it was spam or not. So we're going to make sure the appearance of it it just seems more official. So they're working on that with the vendor. Outside of that, we will do this again in maybe a few weeks or so, but I will send this board a schedule when it is determined of when those messages will go out. But the goal is to send out the message to voters to remind them that advanced voting has started. If they have a precinct relocation, they will receive an email, a text or email when it gets closer to those dates. But we'll continue to do that. But like, again, we did have our first run, and we are going to change the appearance of it so it doesn't look like spam.
Member Crawford.
Have we fixed the distribution list to reach everyone?
They're working on that as
They're
well.
still working on
And
that.
what Ms. Crawford is referring to, that some of the numbers that populated did not, it messed up the digits. So they're going to go back in and fix that as well when we do the resend.
Member Adams.
I know we've worked, I think this is a great program, and I know we've worked to increase the number of phone numbers and email addresses. Any updates on how much we've increased, or just a general idea?
We do not have that number. Once I guess in a few months when we pull the file, we'll see if the number increased. But we'll compare numbers if a few months from now to see if voters have actually gone out there and updated their information through word of mouth to put that information in MVP if they have not done so.
Okay, thank you.
Member Selby.
Director Williams, is there anything we can do at the May 19th meeting to offer to voters, alert them that if they wanted to receive a communication via text or email, that they should, sort of just to remind them how they go about it?
We can work with external affairs to see what we can put out, and then we'll circle back. I'll send you all an email to see what we can come up with.
I thought I saw something that External Affairs was sending out. I thought I saw something that came through email from External Affairs either last week or something, telling voters, like with their voter information and when the end of polling location is, about the text and the communication. But I think we should really try to push that out so we can get more.
So, one of the things I'm picking up from this is it seems like the county commission is doing all the work and the voters are doing none of the work. If you want to participate in this activity, you need to go to your location. You need to do the due diligence. I don't understand why we're not making that the big thing. All right. And this seems very weird. Like, the county commission is doing all this stuff, and like, if you want to vote, find out where your polling place is 60 days ahead of time. Like, why is that a surprise? Why is that hard?
Eyes would make a difference because it might get lost in all the other.
We will. We'll do that. We'll make them into posters.
All right. Is there anything else further from any board?
This is May
members before we
19th.
move
This is coming up in a
to the
month.
next item? Okay, under new business, review and impact of new legislation.
Good morning, members of the board and Fulton County citizens. So if you saw on my report, I showed you the bills that we have been watching for this session. And so in terms of what has actually passed that would have some type of an impact on the elections department would be HB 369, which changes the Fulton County, the local positions in Fulton County with the exception of sheriff to nonpartisan. So that means that for our office, we would then be qualifying all of those candidates. And then that will be more so from a voter education perspective, making sure folks are aware of how to research candidates. So that is the one election bill that passed. As far as SB 214, which, we're part of Gario, and that is the one that we were supporting, which was extending the deadline for the removal of the QR code and starting the new process with a paper ballot system. And for the January 2028 election, that was passed out of the House, but it did not get called up from the Senate side. And then there was another bill, HB 960, which was the language from the original SB 568 that failed. That was substituted on the Senate side, passed out of the Senate, was not taken up from the House. And so what we have received from the Secretary of State's guidance is that there will be some guidance coming as to how the SB 189 will be complied, how we would comply with that removal of the QR code. There have been talks that there may be a special session called. I do know that there have been some other boards that have passed some resolutions and sent back down with what you all thoughts would be in terms of that. So that could be a category that you all take, an avenue that you all take for this. But as of right now, we have not received any more information since sign and die as to how we would comply with the removal of the QR codes for SB 189.
Ms. Williams, has the Secretary of State given us any guidance as to that?
The Secretary of State did send out a notice just saying that they will to be on standby for more information. A lot of counties were asking the question, and they said they will advise us when they have more information at this point. So that's the only correspondence we received.
Any questions or comments from the board? Member Crawford.
I believe that I think that we need to be starting to gather numbers for
Agree.
for moving forward, so that we have costs that we know we're going to incur. And I think that as soon as I know Miss Williams is extremely busy, but as soon as she can get us numbers as to what it would cost us to move forward, that would help us also make a decision on how to either contact the state or whatever.
To proceed with what the budgetary
Mhm.
items, the additional costs that would cost for the county. Ms. Williams.
Yes, I will work on an estimate. If you give me about a week or so, I can draft that. I'm sure it'll be in the millions, but I will draft that. Yes.
Member Selby.
Yes, could I just get a clear statement of the legal impact of the failure of these two bills? If you could just state then what is the current law, when would it kick in, and how would we go about complying, whether that's from staff or council? I'm not sure.
Since it's a legal impact, let's see what the legal team says.
So right now, for the primary, everything remains the same. The law
Sure.
changes July 1st, 2026, and that is at the time that QR codes are not to be used for tabulating the ballots. As currently the machines, that is the only way they are programmed to tabulate. I know there was some indication from the Secretary of State last year requesting money to reprogram those or to get new machines. That he has said that was not funded. Now, state law 21-2300 does require that there be a uniform method for the counties for casting ballots. So the counties by state law are supposed to, under the direction of the Secretary of State, who has the authority to sort of choose the voting system within the requirements of state law. So the counties should, that's why I'm expecting guidance from Secretary of State so that all the counties are on the same path come July 1st if there's not a special session. That could be that he comes out and says we need to hand count ballots because we may still scan them and that be an unofficial tally, and then they may have to be hand counted to be the official tally, because the way SB 189 stated is that those should not be used to tally the votes. I mean, that's one option. I know that's been discussed. That would, require a lot more staff. There has been talk about another special session. So I think at this point we need to, because I don't think a county right now can choose on their own, this is what we're going to do. So I would hope in the next couple of weeks, we get more definitive response from the Secretary of State as to what the plan is for the entire county. And that may mean for, all those counties that do a July 1st budget that they need to think about their November budgeting, or to amend their budget for November if it's going to require more additional staff.
But just to confirm, the primary on May is not subject to the law.
Correct.
Okay.
So, the law takes effect
July
July
1.
1st.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Member Adams.
So since we have no legal way to vote right now or after July 1st, I'm not sure that while you're busy, you should spend time coming up with the budget, because we don't know how we're going to vote, right? I mean,
Like I said, we're going to wait for SOS directives, but just to piggyback off what the attorney said, just for the 2020 election, when we had to hand count one contest, it took 275 teams of 2 people to sit there and hand count that one race. So if you're literally asking us to sit there and hand count every contest on the ballot, would have to figure out what time frame and at what cost that would be, because those people did not come for free. They were paid. And that is gonna be a big cost to the county. But I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but again, we have to wait for SOS. Right now, how we're running elections is legal per the law, and we will be we will make sure we're in compliance when we get new directives from the Secretary of State.
Right,
So-
because what the attorney was saying is it has to be uniform. And I believe your statement speaks more to the fact of how difficult it was in 2020 than
That's
whether or
crazy.
not it is a good utilization of time to try to come up with a budget. And I can understand why Member Adams is saying that, since we have to do it uniformly throughout the state.
Right, and yes, you're correct. So every county has to follow the directives by the Secretary of State. We do not make up our own rules. So once we get those directives, we can figure out exactly what the cost is gonna be.
Okay. And just to clarify, you said in 2020, you had 275 teams?
Roughly,
teams?
yes, of teams of 2.
And how long did it take them to vote, to count one race?
I want to say, I don't remember, maybe like 4 days, 5 days, I don't remember, but it was a
Wow.
lot. And that was the only thing that we can say, we possibly have the floor space because we moved the elections up. We won't have to rent out the Georgia Congress Center. But we'll save money on that at least.
And it is an estimate. You're not saying that's what it took. So it's not like but
It's
it's
an
an estimate that you think
estimate.
it was 4 or 5 days. Okay.
Estimate, yeah, estimate, yes.
Okay. Moving on to approval of intergovernmental agreements for the city of Fairburn and South Fulton.
Yeah, I don't know when they're gonna talk about Tiffany.
Yes, so the city of Fairburn and the city of South Fulton both have special elections, and they have asked for us to conduct those elections. Their contest will be added to the May 19th ballot. So there is no cost to the cities. They have been advised that if by some chance there is no statewide runoff or no countywide runoff, and if they have a runoff, they would have to bear that cost for the June election. But we are asking for board approval to conduct their elections for the May election with a possible June runoff.
Is there any questions before we take a motion?
Yeah, so.
Why are you doing
and
this?
I kind of saw these, but how much are we charging those cities for that?
There is no cost because there is no additional work at this time. We're just adding the question to the ballot. As I said, if there is a runoff, if they have a runoff and we do not for the state or for the county, then they would have to bear that cost. And it's probably going to be the same as what they paid in 2025 for their runoff elections.
Okay, thank
Do
you.
you recall what they paid in 2025, just for clarity?
Janelle remembers.
Okay, we don't have that number. Okay, all right. Can we get a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreements for the city of Fairburn and the city of South Fulton?
Motion to approve the intergovernmental agreements for the city of Fairburn and the city of South Fulton.
Is there a second?
Second.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. It's
Let's get
unanimous.
that.
Moving to review of the policy on absentee ballot return at the AV locations. And what we have in your packet are the standard operating procedures that the department would like to use. And what we also have is the superintendent's own ballot drop-off policy for that as well. And I'm going to ask first Ms. Williams to explain it, and then we'll.
Can you tell me, is this where we are?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Williams, will you speak to it first?
Okay, so the process are you asking me to speak about the process of yes, so.
The operating procedures and all.
Yes, so what will happen is for the advanced voting locations, currently we have 7 drop boxes. We have 32 locations, 7 have drop boxes, 3 already have a office on site. So the election hub, there's already an office, North Annex, there's an office, South Annex, there's an office. For the remainder of those locations, that staff will be given a sealed bag where voters can come and drop off an absentee by mail ballot. We have created the chain of custody forms. We have created training materials to advise the poll managers of how to receive these ballots. They will also be deputized as deputy registrars to be able to receive those ballots. We are purchasing the bags that are needed for that transport. And we're asking the board to approve that policy. So those SOPs have been drafted. I believe I did send a copy of that to this board as well for review. And I can take any questions at this time.
And will the manager or assistant manager?
At this point in the game, I think ballot counting should be live streamed. It should just be a pay-per-view. Like, just make it live stream. We can just see you counting. Like, if you're gonna hand count, I want a camera pointing down and we can see you hand counting. At this point in the game, you might as well just go and make everything transparent, because this stuff is just ridiculous. This is embarrassing what they're going through in order to count ballots when other places don't do this. Like, just make it a pay-per-view. Just let people can sign in and watch, and then you make some money. And you make a little bit of bread too. Like $2 pay-per-view. I can sit there and watch you count ballots, and the tally shows up. You know, that's probably the best thing, because this is dumb. I'm actually embarrassed watching this. Like, I didn't realize just how trifling this was. You know, this is uber trifling.
The assistant managers will not process the ballots in any form or fashion. They are just receiving them, making sure they're in sealed containers, and then being transported to the absentee division for processing.
Attorney Pashuta, can you speak to the legality of this? Because we've had questions about whether or not this is something that is in the code,
And we have the
and
pay-per-view.
can counties do something like this?
Can it be a pay-per-view?
So when you request an absentee ballot, the code allows a voter to either send it back by mail or to hand deliver it to a registrar or a absentee ballot clerk. The code 212382 also allows the board to establish additional registrar's offices to receive those ballots. So I believe you voted on that at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago, that the advanced voting locations would be additional registrar's offices, so that a voter who wants to hand deliver a ballot, as they're allowed under the law, they don't have to go just to the main registrar's office or the 2 hubs, which are the registrar's office year round. They can go to an advanced voting location, and either, if it's one with a drop box, they'll put it in the drop box where they can hand deliver it. If they go to a location that has a drop box, but they want to give it to someone, they can be directed to another location where they can, some voters feel more comfortable handing it to a person. So when it comes back to the main office,
They can also feel comfortable
it's
voting on the day
essentially
of
being delivered
and not doing all this absentee foolishness anyway. How about that one? You'd feel comfortable then. Like, stop this.
And has there been case law to discuss whether or not this is something that is legal?
So back in 2024, there was a state hearing and a federal hearing. The focus of that was receiving the ballots after the close of advanced voting and the close of election day voting. But it also encompassed that ability to set up locations to receive hand-delivered ballots. And both judges in the state and in the federal said it's very clear under state law that the registrars can set up these additional locations to receive the hand-delivered absentee ballots.
Any questions from other board members? Member Adams.
Since these ballots are going to be picked up daily during early voting, along with the ballots of the scanners and any provisional ballots, that's correct, right? Okay. Since those are going to be picked up by the couriers and then delivered to the elections hub, I'm assuming that the elections hub will be open for the public to observe those coming in, and for poll watchers in the tabulation center. Is that correct?
I would have to see if that's required by code. It logistically would be a little difficult because of it depends on where it's positioned. But if it's required for people to come and look at suitcases behind a cage locked with a seal on it, we will be more than happy to escort them to that area if it's required. But what they'll be seeing is a locked cage that has suitcases with seals on them.
Well, I would think that if they were a poll watcher, they would want to see the seal numbers and make sure the seal numbers were the same. It's
Wow.
transparency is what we're talking about.
We will have to check with legal if that's a requirement.
And can we make sure that we do get an opinion with regard to legal? Because we do want to make sure, I know that certainly the public should be able to watch couriers stand in public places and watch the couriers pick them up, whether it's inside the election, the polling location, or outside. I think the additional question that Member Adams has asked, once it's delivered, can the public then access an area? And if you don't have if you have the response now, that's fine, but if not, please investigate that to make sure that we're on four corners with regard to the law.
Yeah, I'm going to double check because I don't want to answer right off the top of my head. I want to confirm, and I will send you an email.
But the department will be making sure it complies with the
Yes,
law
yes,
regardless. Whatever
yes.
the code requires, we are going to do, whatever the law requires.
Well, I'd say even if the law doesn't require it, it's transparent. You're moving ballots, and that's a pretty
We must
big
just live
step
stream
in
the
our
whole thing.
election process.
Okay, so
Turn
let me just
voting
be
into a
clear.
reality television show.
When scanners get to 1,800,
Turn voting into like a reality TV. Like you can literally watch it. You can watch the person standing in line. You can watch them giving their information to the poll watcher, getting their card, going to vote, put it in the machine. You can watch the machine sitting there. You can see the machine get emptied out or get moved. You know what? At this point in the game, just stop. Everything needs to be filmed. That's it. That's it. That's all. It doesn't make any sense anymore. At this point, this is craziness. This is insane. All right, let's finish this up for sure.
Then the amount to also remove does it not?
Yeah, that is actually a state election board rule
Okay.
that you,
Let me also say this too. I think trying to broaden the way that people can vote with not on day of, I'm kind of still torn about early voting because early voting, your boy, it comes through for your boy. I ain't gonna lie. Your boy votes early and often. So I think trying to widen the excuses for people to not vote day of or at least during early voting to me is silly. Absentee mail-in ballots, those should be the very last resort. You are in the hospital, you are on medical issue, you're deployed. You shouldn't just get an absentee ballot because you're sitting at home with you're sitting on your couch eating Cheetos. You should not be able to get an absentee ballot. I'm sorry. You need to go vote. If you want to participate in the process, go vote. Stop it. I mean, we give you, let's just say 218 hours of early voting. That's crazy. And y'all sitting here talking about, well, we can't vote. Like, what are you talking about? So, all right. I don't know, by the way, I don't know when Tiffany Henyard is supposed to tap in. This is supposed to be a part of it, was her explaining why she should be on the ballot. Even though I dropped the link to it, she's already on the ballot. They already got the provisional ballot, the model ballot already up, and she's on there. So I don't really know what they're doing. This seems like perfunctory behavior to me. But y'all check it out. And all right, let's get back to it. It make me sleepy.
what would we have in regards to the election? So therefore, we want to remove those things and make sure it's secure. So if something were to happen, we have the paper receipt of the ballots that were cast.
Right, right. But like at the end of early voting, how we do it currently, the scanners are sealed up and they're brought to the department and they're not opened until election day. So we're talking about 19 times taking ballots out, putting them in a bag and bringing them to the department. I just think, and the reason I'm asking this is I've been asked, is it going to be open to the public and poll watchers? Because we're moving 60 to 70% of our ballots during that time.
Yeah, we'll be moving 100% of them by the time it's over. But again, yes, if it's required, we will comply.
and I want to clarify, at the polling locations, as long as the poll manager and assistant manager are still there and they haven't locked it up, the poll watchers do have the ability to watch that process there. What I want to confirm is the process when it comes back to the hub. I need to confirm that section, but as far as the polling locations, they are welcome to be there when they start opening and all the way through the end.
Right.
Video
And the
watch.
public can come in after.
Just
they
live
close.
stream it. Just
No,
live stream
not
it.
after they close.
Not
Once
Before
it-
they close.
Yes, so even if
The public
polling
can
has
come in from the
ended,
hub.
but
Oh, you're
the-
talking about at the hub.
No, I'm talking at polling locations.
even once voting has ended for the day, as long as the employees are still there, the poll manager's still there and doing that, yes, the public can still watch at that time.
I didn't understand
Um,
that that's what she
But
was asking.
once poll manager locks up the building and everything, no, everyone leaves. I need to confirm whether they can then come to the hub and then also watch that transfer process. I need to confirm that section.
And I want to make it clear, I was thinking that Member Adams was saying after it was locked, after they locked the doors, no one could come in. But of course, once the polling is stopped for the day, as long as they're in there,
They
that's.
couldn't get
yes.
in with the doors
That's
locked.
why I was saying no.
They break in
That's
and
why I was saying
enter.
no, they can't come in after that. All right, any other questions?
Yes.
Member Selby.
Director Williams, could you just describe just generally the safeguards that are in place for this process, just for my edification and the public's?
Yes, so it's required to have, like I said, when we had to empty them when they were 15, forgive me for saying 18, it was always teams of two. Teams of two people will come. They will make sure the poll manager have to empty the scanner, put those in a sealed container, fill out a chain of custody, and ensure that it is sealed and noted on the chain of custody. When the couriers come, they confirm that seal, take that bag, transport it to the hub, and it is locked in a cage. And again, it's confirmed when it arrives.
Which
It's
part
always
is
monitored
crazy?
by the same team of two, so it's not, the chain of custody is not broken. So that is the process. We're doing this, just like I said before, if something were to happen to that location, at least we have something in our hands. If not, we'd have to literally redo the entire election.
Oh my
So it's a
gosh.
safeguard just internally that we've decided to do to be on the safe side if something were to happen to a location. So I'm not sure if I answered your question correctly.
You did. And in your experience, are there any opportunities for glitches, and how do you deal with it? Do you have any concerns about the process, the volume of ballots that are being moved?
No, because we have outlined a pretty accurate, streamline the process to make sure that we see exactly where the ballots are going. Again, at the end, we are still going to count the ballots. We always, after every election, literally count the ballots like a money counter.
Right.
To make sure that what's on that results tape equals to the number of paper ballots that before you all certify, and none of that will change.
Right. So there's redundancy.
Yes, so we will know at the end of the advanced voting period, let's say we picked up 19 bags from Buckhead Library, all the ballots in that 19 bags should equal what's on that tape when that tape is ran on tabulation night. So there's still checks and balances along the way. It also should match up with the recap sheets and all the other things that happen in that process.
Ms. Adams, if we had problems sometimes at polling locations with regard to people locking doors or making sure it was secure, could you speak to that?
Yes, so we did have an occasion where a poll manager forgot to lock a door. Thankfully, it was an internal door, but that was still still a concern that if you forget to lock a door, or if it's an access card and that were to be breached at one of the libraries, that stuff is sitting there overnight, that we need some type of check and balance. So that's why we decided to do this.
Other questions from the board? Member Adams?
So have we posted all of this information, this first sheet that says return of
Okay, I'm just gonna jump in real quick because this is super boring. All right, so this question right here, why can't they have one place where everyone comes to vote and the ballots are securely counted in the same building so that people know that the votes were counted, processed, and protected? That would be cool. The problem is Fulton County is gigantic. It's huge. And now that would just open up so many I can't get there issues that it would just be a boondoggle. I'm perfectly fine with having 100 polling places available on election day. And you have 100 places to go. You know where you're supposed to go. There's not going to be crazy, ridiculous lines and that stuff of that nature. It's really this extended voting and these provisional and absentee ballots. That's really the problem. The problem is not day of voting. The problem is all of those things around it. And again, I'm a fan of early voting, but I think that that's part of the problem. And it does lower the voting block because people are just not going to do it day of. If it's the first Tuesday of November and that's the day to vote, there are going to be people who still not going to vote, even though you know that years in advance. Everybody knows it's the first Tuesday in November. Everybody knows that. So let's keep it going. Let's see what they are talking about now.
To this today, and I have not had a chance to read it.
Any other comment from any other board member?
No.
Okay. Now moving to number 12, the emergency polling relocation. And that is the emergency polling location that was the Istanbul Cultural Center. And before Director Williams speaks to that, first, with regard to the legalities of changing an emergency polling location change, can you speak to the law for that, Attorney Pashuta?
Yes, so under OCGA 21-265, you are not supposed to change a polling location within 60 days of an election unless there's an emergency or an event occurs that makes the polling location unavailable. And in this case, the polling location has withdrawn. So at this point, we have to change the polling location. So I will let the director speak to the plan as far as what that is. The board will need to vote on what those voters, what polling location or what advanced voting location will be in place as an alternative. And then it'll be important to get the information out to the voters, but that, again, that'll be communications. I would hope it's not required, but I would maybe ask the Istanbul Center, would they be willing at that advanced voting period, maybe to have some signs redirecting voters since the precinct cards had already gone out, just as a courtesy, if they would let the county do that.
Okay, I have a couple of questions, Ms. Williams. Prior to the Istanbul Cultural Center being designated as a polling location, did you reach out to those cities that to ask them for alternate locations when we had to move from the schools?
Yes, so we did reach out to the cities and advise if they had any suggestions in regards to polling locations to please let us know. We did get feedback for some of the cities. Some places declined, some places said yes, but we did ask that question.
What about the cities where Istanbul Cultural Center, did they respond?
Yes, they did.
Okay, and before proposing it to the board, did you also send correspondence to the clerks as to where we were expecting to move from the elementary schools and from the centers to the Istanbul Cultural Center?
Yes, so anytime we do a precinct relocation change before this board approves, we've sent it to the cities and say, this change is gonna impact your voters. Please advise if you have any questions or concerns. So before we present it to this board, we do ask for their input.
And do you also send it to the Board of Commissioners?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and then after that, if you get no feedback, then you bring it to the Board of Registration and Election?
That's correct.
Okay. Istanbul Cultural Center, when they said they were unavailable, what was their concern?
So when we were moving out of Manning Oaks, we did a survey of the area to see what was available. We reached out to Istanbul Cultural Center. We did a site visit. It's a nice facility, a fellowship hall like any other. People are very friendly and kind, and we're happy to be ready to serve their community. Unfortunately, due to the rhetoric that's on social media, racist rhetoric, I might as well just go ahead and say that word, that's on social media. Now the facility has concerns about their safety, the safety of poll workers, and the safety of voters. So they have declined for use, and we completely agree with them. And we have found alternatives. We're going to have to merge these precincts now into a nearby facility because of this situation, unfortunately.
Okay, and were any of the cities concerned about it being an Istanbul Cultural Center before, or did they think they were good neighbors?
No, nobody had any concerns, and they said they were good neighbors.
Okay, what has the department come up with since we've had to do this emergency? What are you proposing to us today?
So what we are proposing is, and again, all of these were originally at Manning Oaks, and they had been moved to Istanbul Cultural Center for precinct AP 07A. That portion will go to Alpharetta Library. For precinct AP 07C, that portion will go to Willis Park Recreation Center. And for ML 06A, that portion will go into Cambridge High School. And those are the 3 precincts that are impacted. Voters, we had already mailed out precinct cards to these voters. We will now have to remail precinct cards. We will now have to redo relocation signage. So there's a lot of things that have to happen to fix this. Unfortunately, it's the cost of the taxpayers. But we do still thank Istanbul for opening their doors, and we're sad that we had to relocate, but we will make it work for the voters.
Has the cultural center, have you talked to them about putting up signs to make sure that when people come to report there, since they may not know that it's been changed, signs as to where they would have to relocate to?
Yes, so they have been advised that we will put signage up at their location. We will actually put signs up at Manning Oaks. The signs at Manning Oaks were going to say go to Istanbul. We will have discarded those, and we'll make new signs now to the changes I just stated. So the signs will be placed at Manning Oaks and at Istanbul to advise voters where they are to go for this. And Istanbul did release also a media statement regarding this matter.
And I have one other question about it. So can you say for the public so they can understand why we relocated out of the elementary schools? Because people may not follow us
Yeah, we used to
monthly,
do
but why did
elementary,
we
right.
leave the elementary?
Right. So last year we received a lot of concerns from parents because of school shootings and other things that are happening around schools around the nation, that they would not like polling to be at their school because it just opens another window for people from the public to come inside the school. So after evaluating, we realized let's try to move out as many schools as possible. Fulton County is very huge, and it's hard sometimes to find locations. And again, when things like this happen, that's when it's hard to find a neighboring place that would let us in. So we decided to move out of schools. I think we had a total, since 2025, it's been a slow process. We had maybe a total of 65. We're down to now 17 schools that we're still in, and we're still working on those to see if anyone in the neighborhood would be willing to house the precincts, if there's something that's compatible. And again, the reason why we do that, if it would be perfect if it was always a virtual day or a teacher work day, but that's not how it happens. We don't control the election calendar. So oftentimes when school is open, their students are there, you're, in the carpool line, voters are trying to get, it just turns into a little hectic. Often we have to relocate inside the school. Sometimes we're in the gym, then we can't use the gym. We're in the cafeteria or we're in the
Library.
media room.
Mhm.
And it turns into an issue about handicap accessibility. Another issue is when we have summer elections, usually the schools are renovating during the summer. So we always have to relocate because that's the time they can renovate. So it's just mainly for student safety, but for all those other factors, it's just better for us to move out of the schools.
Any questions from other board members? Okay, so we need to vote for changing the polling locations.
Motion to change the emergency polling locations.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. It's unanimous. Now we're moving to a presentation on the daily voter roll and list maintenance process. Ms. Glenn?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, I did not know that this was gonna be like a full-on meeting. The agenda was not published. The link was up, but it didn't show you the actual agenda, because I would have probably tapped in a little later. But I mean, this is insightful, if you will, but it is kind of frustrating to see like all these shenanigans that we go through to vote here in Georgia, which seems crazy. This just seems bananas. But anyway, I don't know if Tiffany Henyard is there. She's supposed to be, because she's supposed to explain why she should be allowed to run. I do think it's weird that she is actually listed as a Republican candidate on the sample ballot already. So I don't really know what the purpose of this discussion is. Let me grab that again and drop that for y'all so y'all can see it, just in case you didn't see it earlier. Okay, got that. And I'm gonna drop it in the chat for y'all as well. All right, let's see what she's talking about. Oh, we got PowerPoint. We got PowerPoint going on. What we got here?
Maintaining accurate voter registration records is essential to protecting election integrity and ensuring voters receive the correct ballot for their precinct and districts. Keeping voter list, registration list current is a continuous process that includes adding new voters, updating voter information when a voter moves or changes information, removing individuals who are no longer eligible to remain on the voter rolls. Next slide. So the primary system used for Georgia to maintain voter registration records is Jarvis, which is the Georgia Registered Voter Information System. Jarvis allows election officials to process voter registrations, update records, and conduct voter list maintenance activities in accordance with Georgia law and election procedures. Next slide. So this slide is an example of the Jarvis dashboard used by the registration division. The dashboard contains several tiles that identify items requiring review or processing. As staff process items, the numbers on the dashboard continuously change, reflecting both completed work and newly received items. Next slide. So our dashboard tiles are recently canceled voters, recently rejected voters, vital records, felon records, DDS cross-state, potential duplicates, DDS applications, Oliver, which is online voter registration applications, challenged voters, MVP, my voter page updates, pending voters, records to review, potentially ineligible voters. Next slide. So when staff receives an application, the first step is to search Jarvis to determine whether the voter already has an existing record. If the voter record already exists, staff updates the existing record rather than creating a duplicate. If no record is found, the application is processed as a new voter registration. All new voter registrations go through a built-in verification process within Jarvis to confirm the applicant's eligibility before the record becomes active. Additionally, voters may update their own information through the My Voter Page online portal, which allows them to submit updates such as address or name changes. These updates are then reviewed and processed by registration division staff. Next slide. When processing a DDS application, Jarvis may identify a potential match with an existing voter record. In this case, staff was presented with a stare compare screen to verify whether the records belong to the same voter. Staff have several options when reviewing the record: not a match, update voter, reject application, or search voter further. If staff determines that the record is a match, the existing voter record is updated rather than creating a duplicate. In the example shown, the voter status is currently inactive due to an NCOA, National Change of Address. The voter's address is being updated based on the DDS application. Next slide. This slide shows a scenario where no matching voter record was found in Jarvis. Because there is no record on the left side of the screen to compare, the application is treated as a new voter registration and processed as a new voter record. Next slide. This slide shows an online voter registration application in Oliver, which is the term that we use. In this example, the voter submitted the application as a new registration to Fulton, but Jarvis identified a previously canceled voter record in DeKalb County. So our staff will review and compare the information and determine whether or not to update the existing voter record, reject the application, determine the records are not a match. This process helps prevent duplicate voter registrations across counties. Next slide. So OCGA 21-231 governs voter list maintenance for individuals who must be removed or updated in the voter registration system, including persons convicted of felonies involving moral turpitude, which we're told all felonies are involve moral turpitude, non-citizens, persons declared mentally incompetent by a court, and deceased individuals. The registration division works with state agencies and internal verification processes to ensure the voter registration list remains accurate and compliant with Georgia law. Next slide, please. So our felons, information regarding individuals convicted of felonies involving moral turpitude is provided to the Secretary of State by the Georgia Crime Information Center, GCIC, and the Council of Superior Court Clerks. The Secretary of State then posts these records to the county's Jarvis dashboard tile for review and processing. So when processing these records, staff verify the following identifying information: first and last name, date of birth, social security number when available, and address. Once verified, the voter is sent a notification letter advising that we have received information indicating that they may be serving a felony sentence and informing them of their right to request a hearing before this board. These records are then placed on a 40-day timeline for cancellation. If the voter requests a hearing, the 40-day clock stops until after a disposition by this board. Next slide. Non-citizens. Individuals identified as non-citizens do not appear on the active voter rolls, but appear in the pending voter file while their eligibility is being verified. Once confirmed as a non-citizen, the applicant is sent a notification letter advising that they do not meet the eligibility requirements to qualify as an elector under Georgia law. Next slide. Deceased voters. Under Georgia law, the local registrar of vital statistics in each county must prepare and transmit to the Secretary of State on or before the 10th day of every month a list of individuals who died during the preceding calendar month. The Secretary of State is also authorized to obtain lists of deceased voters, Georgia voters from other states. Additionally, the registration division may receive information regarding deceased voters from published obituaries, death certificates, verifiable knowledge of a death, written notification signed by a family member. So when a deceased voter is verified through the Secretary of State's list, our office sends a first-class letter addressed to the family of the deceased voter at the mailing address listed on the voter's record. The letter notifies the family that the voter registration has been canceled due to the notification of death and expresses our condolences. Next slide. Mentally incompetent. Voters declared mentally incompetent are removed from the voter registration list upon receipt of official documentation from the courts. Once verified, staff process the cancellation in accordance with Georgia law. Next slide, please. We have a new tool that assists registration in verifying anomalies in our system. So the records review tile is new to Jarvis report that identifies voter records requiring additional review. Most of the categories flagged relate to potential address or data irregularities, which include 10 or more registrations at a single address, 50 or more registrations at a single address, business addresses, PO boxes, UPS, FedEx, DHL, mail, and mailbox store addresses, addresses that listed as vacant by the USPS, age-related anomalies, including voters older than 104, birth dates listed before 1900, records where the registration date predates the voter's
That's crazy.
birth date, and records with no voter contact history. These records are reviewed by staff to determine whether corrections, updates, or for the further investigation are required. Next slide. Our miscellaneous list maintenance, national change of address, which are NCOAs, governed by OCGA 21-233, which governs the comparison of voter records with change of address information provided by the United States Postal Service. The Secretary of State's office receives NCOA data from USPS identifying voters who may have moved. Confirmation notices are mailed to voters who appear to have moved outside the county. Voters are asked to confirm or update their registration information. We also receive ERIC cross-state data. ERIC, we are still part of ERIC, which is the Electronic Registration Information Center, which compares voter registration and driver services data across member states. ERIC identifies who may have more recent activity in another state. These voters receive a notice asking them to confirm their registration status. If the voter does not respond within 40 days, their record is moved to inactive status. The Secretary of State conducts these mailings at least every odd number year. Return mail. When the registration division receives return mail, staff process the information in Jarvis and the voter's status may be changed to inactive. If a forwarding address is provided, staff follow standard operating procedures and send the request to the voter asking them to update their voter registration record. Next slide, please. Our voter education and outreach. The Fulton County VEO division plays a critical role in supporting the voter registration division by assisting with the verification and correction of residential addresses. Key efforts include coordinating outreach with local colleges and universities to ensure student voter registrations reflect accurate residential addresses, working with homeless shelters and community partners to ensure individuals experiencing homelessness are registered in accordance with voter registration guidelines, assisting with address verification for residents of assisted living and senior living facilities. These efforts help ensure accurate voter rolls, proper precinct assignments, voters receive the correct ballot style. Next slide, please. Our GIS department, Geographic Information System.
Okay, real quick. I know a lot of people have hopped in. So at the current moment, the Fulton County Commission is kind of going over how do they clean the voter roll, which I do think is kind of interesting to know, like, what is the process that they go through to clean the roll. Some of this, again, I don't know. It sounds good on paper or on a slide. I just don't know if y'all do this in practice, because some of it seems like, well, why are there people on there that have been able to vote for 10 years and they've passed? They've been dead for 12. Like, what's going on? So I think this is super interesting. And to answer the question that's on the table, I don't know when Tiffany is going to get up to actually address this, the issue at hand, but I'm hoping that it'll come up because they don't seem like they're trying to hurry up and get done. So clearly it's going to come up. So I think it would be appropriate to come after this because they're talking about people who qualified to vote. How about qualified to run? That would make a good point. So let's see how they keep this going. Let's go.
Voters registered at commercial addresses. This collaboration helps strengthen voter list accuracy and data integrity. Next slide. So as mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, list maintenance is an ongoing and continuous process through the combined efforts of registration staff, the Secretary of State's office, GIS, VEO, and other verification systems. And I do want to give a shout out to our cities because all of the cities, before every election, they get to see the voter roll, they see all of our street addresses, and they participate in helping us to have accurate street information and address information in the system as well. So we work to ensure that Fulton County's voter registration lists remain accurate, secure, and compliant with Georgia law. Any questions?
When did the Georgia registration review application tool come into existence?
Okay, so the Secretary of State introduced it in December of 2025 because we were in an election. We were only able to start processing our items in January of 2026.
You're saying Fulton, that's when Fulton
In
started?
Fulton, yes.
Okay, and how do those documents and those records get to you?
They all show up on our daily dashboard. When we started, Fulton County had 53,711 items. And as of this morning, we're down to 13,000. So we have been working the records to review and trying to meet a deadline prior to our election in May.
When you're working the records to review, you're also getting the daily additional totals that come up in Jarvis the entire time. Those are in addition to that.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And how many people are working on it?
Our department, we have 16 positions. We have actually 14 full-time employees right now, and everyone, including myself, we work on it every day.
Every day?
Every
You're
day.
working on it?
Yes.
I don't have any further question. Anyone else? Member Adams?
And is that part of Jarvis?
The records to review?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you had any problems with Jarvis?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Good, good. Also, you mentioned Eric doing the cross-state. Eric's doesn't have any of our bordering states as clients,
No.
right?
They do not.
So how do we get information from our bordering states?
The Secretary of State does have with everyone, I think, but Florida, because they don't protect PII. They have individual agreements with Alabama, Carolinas, Kentucky. But I
Tennessee.
think they have one with Florida, but they don't share with Florida because they don't guarantee protecting PII.
Okay.
Member,
That's all right. So I think that about answers it, but I'm assuming that it's a problem that we don't have any of the information from Florida. Is that right? Because it seems like a lot of people move from Georgia to Florida.
They do, but they're not, they used to be members of ERIC, but all those states left the.
Yeah, a lot of them left.
Yeah, so
Okay,
we can only do, deal with what we have.
right. Thank you.
Member Crawford?
Is there somewhere where we can display this slideshow with the exception of page 7, 8, and 9? Because since we have so many questions on list maintenance, would it go on the My Vote app or someplace?
Let me double check if we can possibly put it on Fulton Facts about voter roll maintenance. We
Yeah.
could probably put it as a PDF attachment. Let me look into that.
Because
That
we
would be
have so
good.
many people asking and questioning our voter maintenance that this might help answer. If we find it doesn't answer any questions, we can always take it down. But I was just thinking, any thoughts, rest of the board?
I agree with you about not putting up those pages 7, 8, 9 was the
Yeah.
ones with personal information for voters.
Yes, ma'am.
I have another question for you. Was there, the old system, was that ENET?
Yes.
And when ENET and Jarvis merged together, was there any difficulties or problems when there was the merger?
That's comical, but yes, lots of problems. But the Jarvis that we are operating with today is hands down 200% better. And ENET, the transition or the transfer of data, there was some integrity issues because I can't explain all of those things, but yes, Jarvis is now hands down 200% better than ENET.
200.
Does the department still have to answer questions over what things that happened when that merger came about?
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions from anyone? Okay, thank you, Ms. Glenn. We appreciate it.
All right, let's get to Tiffany. Let's go.
Now moving to, we have a challenge hearing scheduled. Last week, we voted to have a challenge hearing. I was advised last night that the person, the candidate, Ms. Henyard, contacted the department and said that she had not received adequate notice, that she had found out about it from seeing a TV program or something like that.
Girl,
It's
bye.
reported on the news, and that's when she was aware of it, and she would like to see if we could continue it.
No.
I think that if
No.
we did not send it in a manner in which that she we alerted her. We did not call her, from what I understand, to tell her what the date was. But
No.
she received an email. But I know I'm in support of giving both procedural and substantive due process to a candidate. Plus the law, from what I understand from last
Let her
week,
sue. Let her
when we
sue.
had our hearing, it's subjective intent, and she was unable to be here on such late notice
What?
to present for herself, and we would need, I believe, the candidate for subjective intent. We also, from what I understand from our
Wow.
attorneys, we had suggested and said what things we wanted subpoenaed, but we have not gotten all of those. And so, Attorney Pashuta, can you speak to what we received and what we haven't received?
Super lame.
Yeah, so there are several other pieces outstanding that I had requested. We did receive the voting history from Illinois. That was one of the things we requested. We did receive a certified copy of that from the Cook County Clerk. So if you do postpone it, that would give me some time to be able to follow up on some of those other items that we did not receive. But
Lame.
I do think also that the candidate should be here, even just for due process purposes, and because part of that residency review is to weigh intent as well, and we would need to hear that from her.
Do we have the lease that we had asked for, either a certified copy?
No, I've not received that. That's one of the items that I need to follow up on.
Okay. Any other members? Member Crawford, then Member Evans.
What time frame do you need to, do you?
The election is on May 19th.
Get the information.
I would not want to put it out too far just because
Right.
of the election coming up. I mean, I can follow up tomorrow. I would at least, because some of these we also made via Open Records Act requests, and I have not heard back on those. But I would say mid to late next week. But you know, I
You have a
also
motive.
want to have it as soon as possible, and I don't know if the candidate gave you any indication of when she might be available or not.
Her unavailability was noticed in having to leave work and finding out at the last minute and having and
Where
being
does she
able to
work?
be here and also arrange, I believe it was childcare or something like that as well.
She got a fourth grader. Stop it.
But Member Adams has a question as well.
Yes. I understood at our last meeting, whoa, that got a little loud. I understood at our last meeting that we had given her notice that we were discussing it at the last meeting. Is that correct?
No, we had told her that we would give her notice of the date because that's when we
don't
scheduled
like
the
this woman
date, was the
today.
last meeting.
No, we were told that she was given notice of last week's meeting.
So
That's what-
She wasn't to be there then.
She was told that we were discussing it, but we also told her we would follow up with a hearing date. That did not happen.
How do we know
email
the
did not
date?
go through.
I
so
knew the
we
date.
Do need to give her, we're required to give her what, 3-day notice of a hearing? And that did
That's
not
crazy.
occur. That's why we asked for we told the chair that we would like for them to continue.
Okay.
That's crazy.
So I'm assuming from what you've said, she didn't listen to last week's meeting.
I would say she's not required to, where
Wow.
we are required to give her notice of a hearing. And
Okay.
that's what we did not do.
And we do have her phone number, email address, physical address. We have ways to communicate with her.
Yes, we do. And we
Okay.
did not send that hearing notice properly.
Wow.
Okay.
They really are trying to make this thing
You
happen.
know, I think she's had a lot of notice. And she didn't give any indication on when she wanted this meeting?
It's not up to her to give the indications when she wanted the meeting. The reason why Director Williams is saying that she was not required to attend last week is because last week was when we were to set a hearing to tell her when to attend.
Right.
She wasn't required to be at our special called meeting. What she was told, I believe, and Director Williams, you can correct this, is that there was going to be a special called meeting where we would determine the date that she was
This is
to appear.
embarrassing.
Yes, that's correct.
And so we had that meeting, we let her know about it, and she wasn't interested enough to watch it. I know she's not required to be there.
We can't speak
She's
for
not
her.
required to watch it.
And we can't presume to know what the candidate knew or did not know. So I want to be careful that we don't make aspersions about she didn't care or she didn't watch it, because we don't know. All we can go on is what we were told, and that was that she did not receive notice and found out from a TV program yesterday.
That's crazy work.
Okay. I think that we need to schedule a special meeting. So this will be the second special meeting for her. And
This
I
is
think
embarrassing.
that, there needs to be clarity at some point. This will be our third meeting about the same thing. And so I don't know if anyone has any proposed times to do it next week.
Member Selby.
Well, I agree with Member Adams, but I had a few more questions. The statement that we did not give proper notice, where is the process for notice set forth in the code? Is it?
So it's not in the section related to qualifications, but when you look at other sections of the election code, like when the board evaluates, there's a question about whether someone's a qualified elector, if there's a challenge to an elector. Those all discuss about 3 days written notice of the date, time, and place of hearing.
Okay.
So since this is also reviewing essentially residency and qualifications, I believe we should use those same requirements that are in those other sections of the code.
And so we did send an email, correct?
I'll defer to staff.
Right. So again,
yes.
this person was qualified by the Republican Party. We were able to get the information for her contact information. We advised her. We reached out to her when the challenges came up about getting a lease and things of that nature. She did send that. But when when the board decided to schedule a hearing, the email that we sent did not go through. So therefore, we have to give her a proper hearing notice, and we did not send that. But again, we had her contact information. We reached out to her. She was very cooperative with the information that was sent. We just have to give her proper notice per code.
So that means we had the wrong email address? When you say didn't go through?
Right. I like this guy.
A typo. I'm not,
Okay.
yeah.
Understood.
So it was a technical
Got it.
problem, which
Okay.
that is not actual notice of it didn't go through.
Got it.
And I would suggest that we email, but also even do snail mail.
Yeah.
And just send it to the post office as well, so we can verify that we send it both ways.
And then what about the timing? We're coming up on the May election. What is the timing implication of when she needs to have this kind of resolved?
Well, at this point, so the board has the power to hold a qualification hearing at any time before the election. It could be the day before the election. At this point, the ballots have already gone to be printed. I'm not sure when those are coming back. So there are procedures if someone is disqualified after the ballots are printed. So I think those procedures are going to take effect whether you have the hearing this week, next week, or the following. But I mean, obviously, advanced voting, I can't remember what date that is.
That's what's funny.
And the UOCAVA ballots. So
This is embarrassing.
there is a chance the further you put it out that if someone is disqualified, that some of those absentee ballots may have already gone out, or some of the UOCAVA ballots have already gone out, and those votes would not count. So that is one risk.
She already
Even though
messing
you
up
have the
Georgia
authority
elections.
wait,
Already.
all the way up until the election, advanced voting, absentee, all of that. Won't have the notices if you do decide that she's not qualified.
Any other questions? At this meeting, though, we should determine first a motion with regard to continuing the hearing, because it's set for today. So we need a motion for that.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue this hearing based on not having enough information and Ms. Henyard saying that she doesn't have enough notice. I'd like to make, the motion is to have a special meeting next Thursday at 11.
Well,
And-
first, let's do the motion to continue for continuance,
Okay,
separate from a
motion
date.
to continue.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. And let's check to see, Ms. Adams has proposed next Thursday, but let me look at my
16th.
calendar.
I will be out of town.
Let me look at my calendar.
Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
So, and Wednesday is gonna be tough, because I have doctor appointments.
It's funny that you all are bending over backwards for her, and she
What's
didn't
your
even have the
availability?
time and like to make it work to get there.
Okay.
One person versus 5 people. Like,
I'm
it
gonna
would make
have to look to
sense.
find out mine as well.
And I'll remind everyone that Wednesday is a state election board meeting.
Crazy. This is craziness.
I have to check mine too. Just a second. Let's check, take a minute to check our calendars. I have to get my.
This is embarrassing because this is, I mean, this is how she's starting off her foray into Georgia politics with this kind of shenanigans. This is embarrassing. I'm sorry. I came into this thinking that they were going to boot her out of there, like, pew, they're going to boot her out of here. Now I think they're trying their best to get the woman on. I feel like they're making every attempt possible to make her.
Saturday, actually.
This is insane. This is insane. They did all this about voter integrity, all this about elections and making sure they're using the right locations and all that stuff. But then you let some doggone carpetbagger get on the ballot. And she's already on the ballot, by the way. I don't know. I wouldn't. Just to even be elected, even to be considered, to me, is still giving her.
Anyone have any objection to Monday, the 20th at 11? What about you, Attorney Pashuta?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, so can we get a motion for Monday, April 20th at 11 a.m. to have the special called meeting for candidate Tiffany Henyard?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we continue this meeting and meet on Monday, April 20th at 11 a.m. at the Elections Hub for candidate Tiffany Henyard.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. And we'll make sure that it goes out both, and hopefully by today, mail and email and a personal call, because if she could to personally call and to let her also know, but document all those 3 ways, okay? I don't have any other matters that I'm aware of. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion y'all
Yeah, but
adjourn.
I do have, if I can take a personal privilege, just have one comment.
Ooh.
I would like to vocalize my disappointment in the rhetoric around having elections at the Islamic Center.
Girl, bye.
Cultural Center. I think it shows.
Girl, bye. I don't even care what you're saying. You are literally voting against your best interest. Goodbye. I don't care what you're talking about. No, I'm sorry. I just want to see if that other lady talks about why she doesn't think that this should be a case. I'm sorry. The cultural center is not appropriate. And there's good reason why. You're going to sit there and argue for your own worst interest.
I second that sentiment. Thank you.
I don't care. Either y'all.
And everyone's heard what I had to say about it as well. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Because I ain't do nothing. Okay. That's embarrassing. For the life of me, I do not understand why these people are doing all of this lyrical gymnastics to allow her to be on the ballot at all. Now, to Melinda's point right here, I don't think that she's going to get a vote. I don't think she's going to get elected, but that's not the problem. The problem is the fact that she's able to run. She shouldn't be able to run. She's not qualified. She doesn't live here in Georgia, hasn't lived here in Georgia long enough. And I don't think that, from the way I understood it, you can just go through the process and nominate yourself to run in this particular office under a particular party candidate. It's not like the party said, we approve of you. It's like, I'm running as a libertarian. I'm running as a Democrat. I'm qualified because I've done these things. I've lived here a year. Here's my electric bill. I got a driver's license. I'm registered to vote. Bada boom. And I just register as that. So I still don't think that that's, I don't think that's right by a mile. And I don't think that she's going to get elected. The problem is that she is going to be on the ballot, and that makes it look like she's a valid individual. So next time she comes up, people have already kind of got in their mind that she's run before. So she must have been valid then. So she must be valid now. That's the problem. All right, what do we got? Yeah, she's just wasting time. And then again, like, she's gonna waste time. They're gonna end up allowing her to, they're gonna still let her be on the ballot because she's already on the ballot. Let me pull that up so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Like, she's already on the ballot, so there's no reason to think otherwise. Okay. Clear this out. I got one screen today, y'all. Y'all praying for your boy, right? I only got one screen today. Bada boom. Okay, here's a sample ballot from that they're going to be using. So when you go here, you got a couple options: general, primary, Democrat, nonpartisan, Republican. We're going to click on Republican because that's what she's allegedly running as. Let's zoom in a little bit, Jason. All right, we're going to scroll down. She's running as 5th district. Oh, wait, I missed it. Okay. I did miss it. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Okay. Y'all cannot see it. Hold on one second. You don't see what I'm messing the screen up. Hold on one second. Pull this back in. Okay. Bang. Okay, now gotcha. Okay. So now we're going under District 5 representative, right? Okay, there it is right there. Okay. So here's the ballot. Let's just, so you can see here, Fulton County elections, May 19th, 2026. So it's just about a month away. So we're not talking about, we don't have a whole bunch of time, right? All right, let me move myself out of here so y'all can see this whole ballot. Like, she's already on the ballot. That's crazy word. All right, so I'm gonna scroll down here because she's running for District 5 position. So I go right here, for County Commissioner, District 5, and we see right here, her name is already on the ballot. So what's the purpose? Like, what's the purpose? Y'all have already presumed that she's qualified to run. That's crazy word. Now, again, I don't suppose that she's going to win in Fulton County. I just don't believe that to be the case. I don't think Fulton County is that crazy. However, I didn't think that we were going to watch these people over here bending over backwards to argue for her either. It's crazy work. They don't know her intent. We don't know her platform, anything of that nature. So people are going to cast the vote. I'm sad to say. They're going to be Republicans who they're going to be like, I don't have anybody else to vote for. They're going to vote for this person. Even though this person is not qualified, maybe they don't know much about her. Maybe they're like, this is the only option we got and whatnot. That's the part I don't like. That's it. Because it just costs too much money to reprint it. That's basically what they're saying. Because you know good and well they're not going to change it. If they throw her out on her hind parts on the 20th, it still ain't going to matter. They're going to still let her run. Because they already printed these ballots. They're not going to do anything different. Do they know? I don't know. That's another great question. She is being investigated by the FBI, which makes no sense that it's taken this long. But this is Marvin Arrington's seat. Yes, you're correct. This is the seat that Marvin Arrington holds, but he's running for the commissioner, the commission chair position. So he has to get out of that position. So that's why that seat is up. So yeah, I don't know, man. I was very disappointed in that. I really truly did not think that they would do that much shenanigans in order to get to this place. I have no idea. But let me also point this out. I do think it's interesting. I don't know if you saw the optics, but the only person that was pushing against Tiffany Henyard was a woman of less melanin. The other ones that were willing to give her all that duck and cover, well, we sent the email wrong and she didn't know, she didn't have enough time, needs childcare, were all Black women. I think that's problematic. I think that's really, somebody should have a conversation about that. Like, that did not look good. especially on the heels of them talking about all of this stuff that they're doing to ensure the vote and make sure the election is safe and secure. But then you have a Yahoo on here who's not even a Georgia resident. And y'all fighting tooth and nail. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She didn't get the email. She didn't know. She didn't know. She didn't know? You're kidding me. She wants to be commissioner, but she doesn't take the time to look into. I'm sorry. You should know that. Why is that not your main focus? And what job do you have? That would have been my question. What job do you have? I'm listening. You mean tell me you couldn't have listened in on this meeting? Okay. That's why you're getting kicked out. Yeah, this is some wild stuff. I don't think Butch calls a sorority. I don't think she pledged. Yeah, I'm sorry. She should still have to be held accountable, though. Okay, fine. You don't come. That's fine. We're still gonna kick you off the ballot. We got some whiteout. We're gonna white out all these ballots today. White your name out. Because you're not gonna win. That's the thing. You're not gonna win. So what are we doing? What are we really doing? Here, let me pull this in. Maybe let's look at the Democrat candidate as well. I could have did that as well. Let me bring that in. All right, so here's the Democrat candidates. And this is what I'm saying. I don't think this is fair. And again, I'm not pro-Democrat, but I just don't think that's fair that these people need to, man, a lot of people running for governor. I didn't realize that. District 5, we said, right? District 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, look at there are 4 people. Like I said, they're all women. I hope y'all can see that. Okay, these are the women that are running as Democrats for that position. So there's going to be a runoff. So one of these women is going to win. Okay. And then they're going to have to run against Tiffany Henyard because she's going to win the Republican because she is a primary. And so in the general election in November, she's going to have this woman who's running as a Democrat is going to have to sit there and campaign against Tiffany Henyard. For what? For what reason? It's wasting time and resources. For what reason? That's crazy work. Yeah, this is some crazy work. And being the fact that everybody knows about her here. I mean, she was on the news here, like mainstream news, not just bloggers and internet content creators. She was on the news. So why in the world are they allowing her to run? And pretending like they don't know that this is part of her shenanigans. That's wild work, man. Absolutely insane. I have no idea why this is even being allowed. It's embarrassing that's being allowed, for real. So my point is that whoever it is that runs here is going to have to sit there. I would love for them to debate. I don't think they do. It's not mandatory, I don't think. I don't think it's mandatory. But so Tiffany's going to win the Republican primary because she's the only one running. If 10 people vote for her, that's enough. I mean, that's it. If 10 people vote and the rest of people say, I don't know who this person is, and they skip it, she's going to win by default because she got 10 votes and she's running against nobody. She was unchallenged. So then somebody over here, one of these Democrat people, women, is going to win. And so for the rest of the summer into the fall, this woman is going to have to campaign against Tiffany Henyard. For what reason? For what reason? Just to waste time and resources. I think this is, yeah. It sullens the Republican sheet. We can say that as well. I think it validates Tiffany Henyard, which is definitely not something you want. It validates her. It sullens the Republican name and brand. Like, oh, y'all ran Tiffany Henyard. So you got that problem. And there's nothing beneficial. And then, of course, Fulton County looks crazy for running her. Wait, Fulton County, you should have said no. You should have said no. And I do think it's funny because optically wise, you know good and well, those are not Republican board members that are sitting there fighting to have Tiffany Henyard on the board. Oh, somebody keeps asking about the DWC. There's actually a video. Thank you so much for asking. DWC channel. This is the J Whip podcast. It's not DWC any longer. There's actually a video about why I changed the name. And if one of the mods could drop it in there, we'll do that as well. But back to the point, I don't think there's any good valid reason for anyone to sit here and argue about why Tiffany Henyard should be allowed to run. There's no reason. Like, what is the benefit? Help me understand what the benefit. Help me. What is the benefit of that? All right. Let me find this video real quick. Oh, I gotta find that video. Sorry about that. See, I got off task. I got off task and then I don't see it. I'll find it in a second. Okay. So, all right. So, answer your question. Long story short, we thought this was going to be over. We thought it was going to be a quick slam dunk. They were going to get in here. They're going to say, Tiffany, you don't belong here. Get out of here. Pew, kick her out. No, they're going to be back. They're going to be back on. They're going to be back on the 20th of April. By the way, I've got a guest coming that day. Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll work it out. So we will we'll make sure we find it. But anyway, anyways, for what reason? I mean, you already got her on the ballot, so we already know you're not going to take her off the ballot. You're not going to get some industrial whiteout and start whiting out her name. Just give it up. We already know what's going to happen. You're going to say she can run. She's going to win. She's going to run against whoever the Democrat primary winner is, and that's going to be the shenanigans for the rest of the summer. For what reason? I have no idea. I have no idea why. This is so embarrassing. And they just were talking about voter rolls and all this integrity stuff and blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to let this carpetbagger in and run. Yeah, I mean, she's going to be put on the board in a situation. It is embarrassing. And people are going to see it. And this is going to be, I hate to say it, man, this is going to make Georgia look so much worse, especially if you paid attention in the beginning. They said, you come to Fulton County because you want to come to Fulton County to commit crime. I've heard that before. I live here in Cobb County, outside of Fulton County. I've heard that, but I don't believe it's like demonstrably true. But y'all are sitting here arguing for allowing this woman to run, and she should not be running, and that's crazy work. That's just some crazy work, y'all. Right. That's exactly what she's gonna say. I told you she's on the ballot. She's already on the ballot. So it really doesn't, even what they decided today, even if they had decided today that she was inappropriate and we can't let her be here and we're going, she would still be on the ballot. And you see what they went through to make changes and adjustments to the voting location. What they're gonna do about the ballot? They'll still leave her on the ballot because they ain't gonna reprint those things. And they're gonna be like, those votes were nullified or they didn't matter. We gave somebody a slip of paper, said don't vote for Tiffany Henyard, and then they're gonna get sued for that. I mean, you just can't win. They should have fixed this today. They should have said no more, no. Yep. Oh, I don't. She's gonna come up with a reason not to show up on the 20th. She's already on the ballot. What would be the purpose of why does she have to fight now? Like, okay, she's on the ballot. People are going to vote for her. Well, I'm sorry. She already knew she was going to lose. You're not going to win. A Republican's not going to win in Fulton County. Give that up. So she knows she wasn't going to win. She's on the ballot. They're not going to kick her off because then what's going to be the optics that they kicked the only Republican off the ballot. She's there. She doesn't have to come. She doesn't have to come. If she show, I'm going to be here. Don't worry. I will tap in. I'll actually be in town that day. Hold on, let me double check. I will be at Whitaker Park on the 20th. Oh, I do have a guest coming in that day. We'll be done by then. So yeah. So we'll be done with my guest on the 20th by the time. But any case, she's already on the ballot. She's run as a Republican, unchallenged. They don't want the optic of kicking the only Republican off the ballot. Why would she need to come? Why? That's a question I think we need to ask. What would be the benefit? Why would she need to come and argue it if y'all already got her on the ballot? Yeah, and how many times did she not show up in court when she was threatening to go to jail in Dalton? How many times did she not show up then? Yeah, the idea that she's going to show up here, she's not showing up. She's not. She's just not. No reason she didn't show today was because she didn't give notice. Now they're going to make sure she gets notice. Don't you think they're expecting her? We saw the same. We saw the lyrical gymnastics that they were doing. Now, in a reasonable world, I would have been there. I would have been there today. Okay, I would have made things move around. I would have said, "Hey, somebody pick up my kid," whatever like that. I got to be over here. I would have been there. Even if I found out last night, I would have found a way to get there today. That's what I would have done. But given the fact that I don't think that she has any intention of being a honest dealer, come on, look, past behaviors can project future progress, right? Or however it's said. What would be your reason for believing that? Like, what would be your evidence to say, like most people, most of my friends know, if Jason is late somewhere, he doesn't want to be there. I'm always going to be early somewhere. If I can be there, if I want to be there, I'm going to be there early. You say be there at 2, you're going to see me at 1:45, right? If you don't see me at 1:45, 1:58, Jason don't want to be here. Now he might still roll up in here at 1:59, but he really don't want to be here. All my friends know that. They've known this for 30 plus years. So they know that about me. So what I've done in the past is very indicative of what I'm going to do in the future. Now, because I've gotten older, I might show up some places late and people are like, oh, whatever, Jason got here at normal time, like normal people time. But you get my point. Now, because of my past behavior, people know something that they can expect from me. So if we look at Tiffany's past behavior when she's gone to court, how many times has she been in court? She's been sued more times than people gone to Starbucks this month, right? So because of that and the behavior that she's shown there, why would we expect her to do something different? She's already on the ballot. That's the thing. Like if they were still printing the ballots and she wasn't already on there, then maybe it would make some sense. Okay, it's clearly a stall tactic. She knew about it. I'm sorry. We knew about it. We knew about it last week. We made adjustments. I'm not even at home, but I made an adjustment to be here. I was out walking from the hotel to the grocery store. I looked at my clock. I said, it is 7:05. And I started walking a whole lot faster because I knew I had to get back here in time to get this thing started. And still got here on time. Still got here on time. You get my point. So I got here. We got here. Like, why can she not be here? She knew about it. I'm sorry. There's no way you can't tell me she didn't know about it back. What was that last week? What was it? The first or the second, whatever day that was. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me she didn't know about that. I mean, it was all over the news. I did a newscast. I did a live stream of it, and it was just the news talking about it here in Atlanta. You can't tell me she didn't know about it. She knew about it. For crying out loud, that was at her house, and her boyfriend was talking through the ring cam. She knew about it. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if the legislature, the elected people were being honest, they're like, hold on. The newsman went to your house and brought this up to you. How did you not know about it now? You might need to come up in here and tell us about this. But again, she's already on the ballot, so it don't even matter. She doesn't need to come. She's not going to come on the 20th. Right. She heard about it and I'm sorry. Her kid is like in 4th grade. They're on spring break right now. Her boyfriend don't work. What do you mean you couldn't have gone? It makes no sense. we're gonna start a bet. We're gonna start, I don't know. On the 20th, maybe I'll drop a t-shirt that said, I'll drop a T-shirt. It'll be 50% off if Tiffany shows up or something. I don't know, but like, I don't think there's any reason for her to come. Yeah, they work for themselves. And again, I went to the little podunk um, fashion store, clothing store. It is not somewhere that they are not getting beat down at the door. They're not piles and piles of people outside the door. She's running for District 5. She's running for Marvin Arrington's position. Shout out to Miss Furlow Speaks. Good to see you, friend. Okay. All right. We'll do gifted memberships. If Tiffany shows up on the 20th, I'll drop some gifted memberships. There we go. She ain't coming. What's the reason? Oh, how about this one? In the chat, tell me why do you think she would realistically come? I've already told you why I don't think she would realistically come. I would like for you, if you don't mind, I have a video. I have a video of me going to the store. It was closed on a Saturday, prime time. I showed you where it's located, how you get there. It's not on the beaten path. You got to go out of your way to look for. You got to know where it is. So they're not making Walmart money. I'll just say like that. They're not bringing in tons of bucks. So okay. So I said, why would she come? And so this person said, lack of integrity. Well, that's why she wouldn't come. This rascal right here, President Not Perfect, said to show off her fit. Stop it. I don't think she would come. I didn't even think she would show up today. See, that's what I'm saying. I was hoping against hope. But then I forgot. I was like, who are we talking about? We're talking about Tiffany Henyard. The only reason she will show up is because cameras are there. Well, cameras are there. See, she has no policies. She's not running on any principles. She hasn't gone out campaigning on a platform of doing this, that, and a third, helping out in this way. I can use my expertise over here. They have this gap and I can help be a resource in this regard. You're not even Georgian, for crying out loud. You still get lost on Peachtree Street. We got 38 Peachtree Streets and you get lost on them. Like, man, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? Oh, I got you. Thank you, friend. Yeah, she showed up. If she showed up, she will incriminate herself on a federal, right? And she's still under federal investigation, y'all. But she gonna show up she gonna run here in Georgia. Like, what is the benefit of that? Like, for real though, what's the benefit of her running here in Georgia? Nothing. She is just running out here to be a clown. She's running on name only because she's a super mayor. I don't think you can even run in hold positions like that here in Georgia. I don't think you can hold two positions like in those regard. I don't know exactly. I'm trying to think what would be a position at commissioner mayor, but you couldn't be a commissioner and a mayor. I don't know. Hey, what's going on, Otto Smith? What's going on? Shout out. They made it back from Puerto Rico. Good. Glad you're back. Good to have you. I think it's I'm trying to say infamy. But see, that's my point. Like, allowing her to run gives her notoriety, gives her validity. If they kicked her off and said, no, you don't meet the qualifications, goodbye, that would be much better than saying, well, but she's already on the ballot. But now saying, allowing her to run is giving her a little bit of validity. I'm currently don't tell nobody, I'm in a very, very leftist state. But I will tell you about it though. I'm a little bit impressed with this leftist state. Got a lot of Teslas out here though. I'm surprised. Like, Gary, hey, them little things will sneak up on you and run you over. But I am in San Diego, California. Make that make sense, man. That's what's wild to me. Elected in Illinois and running in Georgia. It's crazy work. I've not trimmed my beard. My beard is crazy. I did not go to the barber on my way out. And my beard I look like John the Baptist. Here, I'm gonna go incognito. There we go, hide it. Yeah, I look like John the Baptist right now. I'm looking kind of wild. I'm looking kind of wild. Were you? No way. No way. No, you weren't. Where were you? You didn't come to SBC? So if y'all just jumped in, we were watching, we thought we were going to hear Tiffany Henyard explain why she should not be disqualified for running as a Republican commissioner here in Georgia. Much to our surprise, she did not show up. Not only did she not show up, they allowed and said that basically, let me put that link back in here. No, that's not the link. Sorry. I dropped the wrong link. That was the wrong link. You get a right link. Here is the right link. All right, so that was the wrong link. Here is the correct link right here. Bada boom, bada bing. There you go. Okay, so not only did they allow forbearance, they said, well, we emailed her, but we might have had the wrong email address. I'm sorry. You see, in Georgia, you can just go through the process and go and apply to be a candidate in a position, and you just have to prove that you've been here a year, you're a Georgia resident, you're registered to vote, and you pick your party. So there's not like an approval process per se. So I could run as a libertarian. I mean, I've been there long enough. I could just run as a libertarian or an independent and such of that nature. So that's how she got in. And I guess it's on the party to qualify and say whether or not they really truly qualify. But I don't fully understand, because it seems like everybody now is scrambling and scraping and trying to figure out how did she get on the ballot, when I'm like, y'all let her on the ballot. So that's the only thing. I fully don't know. I need to know more about this, because it doesn't make sense to me at all. It is extremely weird. Like, because it basically sounds to me, I could go in and say, hey, ballot people, I want to run for commissioner number 5. I see the position is open. I want to run. I've been in Georgia here for 30 years. Here's my Georgia driver's license. I've been registered to vote forever. Here's my address. You can see I live here. Here's a light bill. Bada boom. Okay, I'm qualified. Thank you so much. And now I'm running. That's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound more complex than that. I don't know this question. To me, it would seem like I don't live in Fulton County though. I live in Cobb County, and so I would not. And I live far away from the line, so I don't even live like, oh, I'm across the street kind of. I can't even get that. Like I live far away from Fulton County, so I would definitely not be able to run. But back to my point, wait, right here. To me personally, I think Republicans now, because a lot of people are like leaving the Democrat Party and becoming Republicans. Every one of them should be primaried. It doesn't matter. If you are going to be the Republican candidate for dog walking, I need you to be primaried. We need to hear you express yourself as a quote unquote conservative, GOP, Republican, whatever term you need. That needs to happen. Like, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to run for chief recycling under the Republican banner. Nope. We need to hear, nope. I need you to run as a primary. Every one of them need to run as a primary before. No, don't you? The fact that Tiffany, let me pull that ballot back up. Okay. I think I got this right. Y'all pray. Okay. There it is. Okay. The fact, oh, but that's the wrong one though, Jason. Here we go. Bang. We got it. Woo. Editor Jason, he's killing it. I'm gonna pray for that brother. All right. The fact that Tiffany Henyard is running unchallenged, to me, is the problem. There should be, I don't care. It could be the secretary. I don't care. Somebody needs to be running against her. She has to be primaried. There should be no way that you allow somebody that has come in and represent the Republican Party, or even, look, I'll even be fair. Even the Democrat Party, you shouldn't let somebody just come in and say, I'm running as a Democrat unchallenged. That's crazy work. That's just crazy work. So there should be no way that this was allowed, in my opinion. Y'all don't want me to run for president. I got look, my beard is too scraggly. Oh, no problem, Ms. Furlow. No problem at all. Right. And again, I understand. Look, I do understand that people realize that there are certain policies that they cannot support within the Democrat Party. That's fine. I got no problem with that. But if you come over here, we still need to check your papers. Who your people, right? Who sent you? We just like, oh, we're so happy that you left the Democrat Party. Come on over here. How do you know that this? What is Tiffany Henyard's policies? What does she believe about the county commission? Now, keep in mind, the county commission is in charge of some multi-billion-dollar budget, multi-billion with a B budget. It's huge. And now I'm not saying that she's going to be doing a whole bunch of shenanigans with that money, but think about what she did with the shenanigans with the small budget in Dalton and Thornton Township, and having access to that kind of money. It doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to happen. That's just my little 2 cents. Furlow said, I saved the link this time. Ain't no problem. No, it's just, my beard is doing a whole bunch. This is doing a whole bunch. I did not brush it out before I got on. Y'all can talk about me. That's okay. I'll accept it. I deserve it. There's a lot of shenanigans, man. There's definitely a lot of room in the Fulton County Commission for shenanigans and hijinks. And it doesn't have to be direct, like I'm reaching your pocket, stealing money out. But I mean, there could be a lot of shenanigans. So that's my only point. I just don't understand. So watching this, 40,000 a month purchase. And oh, you're talking about the Amazon purchases. Yeah, that was crazy work. That was crazy. And nobody knew where it came from. And nobody, even to this day, they've ever figured out what happened, how that money was wasted like that. I mean, they know that it was probably spent on the ice rink, but nobody knows like the fullness of it to this day. That's crazy work. So anybody that jumped in, we were watching the hearing on whether or not Tiffany Henyard was qualified to run as a Republican commission, District 5 commission chair here in Atlanta, Fulton County, respectfully. Because they allegedly didn't give her fair enough notice, she did not come. And they did a lot. You have to go back and watch it. They did a lot of lyrical gymnastics to make that make sense about why she was not there. Yeah. I don't think I'm not going to go and say that they weren't intelligent as much as, to me, they seemed very willing to make this thing work. Again, I got on this here internet thinking they was going to be like, ping, goodbye, Tiffany. I just knew that was going to happen. I'm like, oh man, they about to shut this thing down. They're going to put this thing to bed, to rest. No, you can't run. They sitting here coming up with every reason under the sun to give. And once I saw she was on the ballot, it was over. Once I saw the ballot, it was a wrap. I said, oh, they're not going to kick her off. When I saw that she was on the ballot, I said, oh, they don't even care. It doesn't matter. There's no reason for them to even have this hearing. That's why I don't think she's going to come on the 20th. She's going to be like, I don't need to come. I'm out campaigning. I guarantee. She's going to say I'm out campaigning. Because the election is on the 19th of May. What they going to do on the 20th? What they going to really do? I think that's what I said. I knew about it. And it's been all over the news here in Atlanta. So please don't make it sound like it was only on the Shade Room or the Joe Budden podcast. Like, no, it's been all over the news. Everybody knew about this. Everybody knew about it. There were so many podcasts that streamed last week's meeting or the first meeting they had. There's no reason for you to be like, oh, I didn't know. But even in that, I said it before, if I wanted to run for office and I thought that I had a valid case to run for office and y'all was trying to boot me out of office, I'm going to be there to tell y'all you can't boot me off. Like, I'm going to move heaven and earth. I'm going to, somebody watch my kid, somebody watch the store or whatever. And I'm going to be there because I need to make my case heard. Not, I'm just not going to be there and y'all figure it out. Tell me when the next time. That's how you know that they're not going to do anything. Because that should have been a slap in the face. They should have been like, wait, what? You want to represent us and you don't even have you don't even have the respect to come and talk about why you should be able to run? Girl, bye. Get by. What's she gonna do? Sue? She got to get the case. That's a case that she would have to initiate, so she'd have to get a lawyer to do that. Once y'all let her get in, then y'all gonna have to start funding that. And paying to fight against yourselves. That's crazy work. Insane. All right, what we got here? Her cat had puppies. It's crazy. I'm telling you right now, if she comes on the 20th, I'm gonna have to drop some free memberships or something. I'm telling you, she's not coming on the 20th. For what? Nobody's told me why she should come. I already told y'all why she's not going to come. I need you to explain to me why she should come. There's no reason. She's already on the ballot. All she needs is 10 votes. It's a wrap. 10 Republicans will be like, they're gonna go straight party card. Party line voting. Republican. I ain't never heard this name before, but she a Republican. There you go. And she gonna get the votes, and then she gonna win the Republican nomination. She gonna run against whoever wins in the Democrats. Why should she come? Even if she gets disqualified, they're not gonna unqualify her. Even if she doesn't show up on the 20th, and they say, well, you know what? She's disqualified. She's already on the ballot. It's too late. They're not going to go around here and redact her name off of it. Because they could have did that today. I don't think that if they had done it today and said, you know what, we're going to take her name off until further notice. Now that might have moved me. I might have been like, okay, see what you're doing over there. I might have believed that, but they didn't even do that, Susie. I think that would have moved the needle, in my opinion. They don't have to have a representative from both parties, but she has said that she is a representative from a Republican. See, that's the thing. So I think the only problem is they don't want to get into the problem of the Democrats kicked the Republican off of the ballot. That's what I think but they allowed Tiffany Henyard to do that. They should never allow her to even qualify. When they saw her name and they knew that there's a question, they should have put a stop to it and said, no, stop printing, get her name off until further notice. That's what they should have done. But now it's too far. The cow's out of the barn and they're too far away, in my opinion. Okay, here's a question I want to think about. She went there very quickly. Do you think that her family and friends are there? Or no, she only has her boyfriend. Her friends and her family still live in Illinois. She came here because she was scoping out a place well before she lost that election in Dalton. Don't quote me on this, but she was seen here in Georgia right before the election in Dalton, right before. Somebody sent me a picture, and it was on different blogs or whatnot that she was here in Georgia, and I was like, that's really weird. And then she was probably scoping out a place then. That's how she ended up signing a lease that was like right in line with when she lost that election in Dalton. But I mean, it's neither here nor there. All right, what we got here? A lot of good conversation back and forth. What we got? She saw another money stealing place. I don't think it's that bad. Like where she has like check writing abilities, you can't do that here. That stuff that the wicked she was doing, leasing vehicles and all that kind of stuff like that. But there's going to be a lot of money wasting, that's for sure, because Fulton County Commission is known for it. But I just don't think I don't think the problem is not that she would get on the Fulton County Commission. The problem is that her running for the position validates her as a real candidate because she's going to lose. There's no reason to believe that she's not going to win. But let me just be honest, okay? I just saw some stuff today that took your boy back. Like, whoa, hold on, let me reevaluate that. So normally, I would say that there's no way she's going to win. I don't think she's going to win. But for the sake of argument, let's just say this: she's not going to win. But it validates her, though. It says that, you know, all that shenanigans that was happening, everything that y'all know about Tiffany Henyard, she could come down here and we could let her run. That's problematic. So the idea that Atlanta's corrupt, the idea that you come to Fulton County when you want to commit a crime, how are you fixing that when you just allowed somebody that you all reported as the worst mayor in America? The Atlanta News reported that. They ran that article, but then y'all gonna go ahead and let her come down here and run with carpet bag and everything. That's crazy work. What we got here? I didn't see Victor Hill. Who's Victor Hill? Victor Hill on the ballot. Is he on the independent? I mean, there's 3 ballots on that sheet. There's independent, there's Democrat, nonpartisan, and Republican. I don't know who Victor Hill is. I'm just going to check real quick. Yeah, I don't see it. But one of the things also they mentioned is that the nonpartisan ballot is different than the Republican and Democrat ballots. So like they don't have certain positions. So they're only voting for just like nonpartisan roles. So if there's a Democrat, is there a Democrat running for Senate? Like for example, John Ossoff is running for Senate as a Democrat. On the partisan ballot, you don't even have a candidate because you're not voting for that person, if that makes sense. So Victor Hill is let me see real quick. Victor Hill. Yeah, I don't see who Victor Hill is. Miss Furlow speaks, but Clayton County ex-sheriff, he got arrested violating citizens' rights. Oh my gosh. This town needs an enema. So yeah, that's a good question too. I wasn't 100% certain if they were going to do it only for, like, this is the only reason we're here is for Tiffany Henyard. So to answer your question, Denise, I'm hoping it is, but I don't know. And I got a feeling I'm telling you, I don't think she's going to come. What's the purpose of her coming? Shoot, it's down I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I could go there for lunch. I'd go downtown and say what's up to Fonnie. What's up, Fonnie? I don't know. Maybe, you know what? I might look into that. I could go down there. I just got to be out of it in time to go pick up President Firstborn, Chief Executive Secondborn, I'm sorry, from school. All right, good conversation going on, chat. I always appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. Yeah, that story's crazy. That story's crazy. The 20th. The only problem is, like I said, I have an interview that morning. I guess when we get done, I could just like hightail it on down there. I mean, it's not the craziest thing I've done. Let me think about it. Because it's not the craziest thing I've done. Trust me, I've done crazier things. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. Hey, what's going on there, friend? not really on vacation. I'm out here in San Diego, checking it out, checking out San Diego. It's kind of wild. We had a good time yesterday. And we yeah, I did go. I went down there for the YSL trial twice. Yep. And it actually would be probably easier to get here to the Fulton County Commission because it's not that dramatic. So that actually might, I mean, don't tempt me now. Don't tempt me. I am but I'll keep you posted on that one. Like I said, it's just figuring out, okay, when I get done with our guests, it's logging off and hitting the road. I mean, that's not hard. We'll see. We'll see for sure. Thank you all so much, everybody. I appreciate it. Okay, so just in case you're wondering, we there was no conclusion with Tiffany Henyard running for Fulton County District 5 Commissioner position because she didn't know enough. She wasn't notified with enough time. They decided to have another meeting on the 20th. I don't think that she really needs to come. I've already dropped it in the link in the chat, and I'll put it in the description as well. But she's already on the provisional, on the ballot already. So they're not going to go back and reprint it. They're not going to, go and have a big redaction party to redact her. So what's the purpose? So she's going to probably be able to run without any problem. I don't think there's any reason for her to show up next on the 20th. Truth be told, I see no reason. Like, why? She's already on the ballot. She's already been, I mean, you tacitly have given her a hearty approval to run. And, shame on the Republican Party. I think moving forward when these new, not all, new Republicans are carpetbaggers. And I'll say the same thing for Democrats. If somebody becomes a Democrat and they're running, and this is their first time running, and they're running in a non-contested position, they have to be primaried. You have to hear more about them before people vote on them, because people are just going to vote on Tiffany Henyard because it is going down, party line down the road. So that's that. So we did not get any closure on that. So she's supposed to come on the 20th. They're going to email her, snail mail her. Apparently, knowing this information was not enough for her. So we went to some of these places yesterday. We went to San Juan Capistrano yesterday. I believe that's where we were. So anyway, so long story short, so that's that. I don't know what's going to happen, and so we'll be back on the 20th. So either I'll be here, at Whitaker Park, or who knows? Maybe I'll be down there. Maybe I will. We'll see one way or another. Yeah, it's too late. It's too late for the Republicans to run. You had to qualify. Was it 60 days? Whenever the news broke that Tiffany Henyard was running, was the last day to qualify for this election. Because even in that, like they already got the ballots done. So if they could add me, Jay Witt, to the ballot to run against Tiffany, then they could take Tiffany off the ballot. They already told you in the thing that they weren't going to take her off. In the video, they told you they weren't going to take her off. So, and I don't think they're really going to make another cell in a line to add Jay Witt as a competition to her. So, or anybody else. I'm just using me as being facetious. So yeah, I don't see any reason why not. I mean, she's going to be on that ballot. There's no reason. And I don't think there's any reason for her to show up on the 20th. But either way, I will go down there, or I will just live stream it, but maybe I will go down there. That might be fun. If I can move my interview, maybe we'll go down there and have a little breakfast or something. Have a little lunch down there. Say what's up to Fonnie. See if Marvin Arrington's there. That kind of stuff like that. That'll be fun. do public comment. That would be crazy if I did public comment. Wait, I could go down there. I'm just looking now. Now you got me really thinking about this. Like, this is nowhere. This is right there across the street from Fulton County Courthouse. So it's nowhere. I could go straight down there. All right, let me get my mind wrapped around it. Let me get my mind wrapped around it. Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying why she would run. Because again, like no, now could Fulton County be changed? Sure. Did you hear some of those public comments? Some of those public comments were extremely red. Public comments about voter safety and such of that nature, vote safety and all that integrity. So those are some very red comments. Fulton County is still blue, but you get my point though. Right? So we'll definitely be praying for them for sure. But all right, my good people, that is it. All right, I do have a couple of videos dropping tonight. We are I'm just telling you right now, I am in contact with a crowd favorite here out in San Diego. And he and I, there's a hint right there. He and I are going to we're going to probably do some recording. I realize that a lot of these podcast studios aren't set up for you to do live streaming in. So like I have my studio at home is set up to do live streaming. So, or we might just pull our phones out and do it. I don't know. But we're supposed to be going to dinner tonight and meet him, and we'll go to dinner and nail down. It'll either be tomorrow, Friday, or Saturday. We have already planned for Saturday, but if we can do something Friday and Saturday, it'd be great. So it'll either be a recording. If we can find a place that does live streaming, I'll keep you posted. So I don't know if it's really qualifies as a vacation. My wife is at a conference, and so I just decided to come. Me and Chief Executive Second Born. So I will keep you posted as soon as we get to dinner tonight. Maybe I'll send some more hints out so y'all can guess who it is. I will say this and give you a hint. It is an audience favorite, and they live in San Diego, California. And it's a he. So y'all, it's not going to be hard. I'm pretty sure you'll probably figure it out real quick. So before I even start dropping more hints, I'm sure you all will probably figure it out. But yeah, so that's that. I want to say thank you so much for tapping in with us. Thank you to everybody who's been watching the videos and liking and doing all that kind of great YouTube stuff. It really does go really far. And I'm glad y'all are enjoying it. So I will keep you abreast for the 20th of April. It will either I will go there. Will be streaming it. That we know of. B will be me going there because they won't allow me to stream while I'm there. So that'll be that little back and forth. So just give you that hint. Oh, that's hilarious. Ruslan is crazy. Isn't Ruslan in LA though? It'll be here on YouTube. We'll be here on YouTube. I thought Ruslan was in LA. Don't quote me on that. I haven't kept up with him in so long. But I thought he was in LA. If he's in San Diego, that'd be crazy. But I should do some more due diligence because there's some other people I think they're out in this area. I just don't keep up with like California like that. So I was I should do a little bit more due diligence. Oh, Tanash is actually in Canada. Is he really? I know somebody that knows him. I'll reach out and say, hey, can I run by and say what's up to him and see his studio? I know he has a great studio, I heard. Maybe I'll do that. That might be fun. Since my wife made me get a Metro pass. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here in the hotel. Go to sleep. Anyway, so I don't know. That's a good one. Thank you. I did not know that. Now I know. All right, good people. Thank you so much for rocking with us. I'm going to figure out, and being the fact that the time is so weird, so we're 3 hours behind Georgia. So my mind is already, wrapped up that it's 1 o'clock or so. And no, but it's only like almost 10:45. That's crazy. So then we're gonna lose like 3 hours going back home. That's wild. That's the part that gets me. That's the part that gets me. So everybody, y'all have a fantastic rest of the day. I am going to see what these people are doing, and what they want to do. We already had breakfast. Like, it seemed like breakfast 10 minutes ago, but we're supposed to go to dinner tonight with my guest. Y'all will figure it out. But I will see you all real soon, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Be blessed, and I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.